All right, so I think the 30 seconds is up. So now that everybody has written what's on their mind onto the piece of paper, our minds are blank. So we have a blank mind that is ready to be filled in by the speakers of the program. All right, so what is MeetMentors about? MeetMentors is an online mentoring organization that was founded in 2018, but officially gained its certificate in 2019. We've been in existence since then, and then we have been all together. Currently having is part of our Explore initiative that is aimed at provide mentoring sessions to departmental associations. So, for example, the Nutrition and Food Science Student Society is a departmental association that we've been working with. We are working with organizing the program, as well as the Association of Food Science and Technology Students from KNUST. So those are the people that we've been here. We are working with for the program. All right, so that is what the Explore initiative is about, and this is one of the numerous programs that we'll be having for departmental associations. So without much ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker completed the University of Ghana, and then he went on to Denmark, Aarhus University, to do his master's there, and then he did another master's in Canada. He is the founder and team lead at MeetMentors. He has a lot of experience in professional and development training, education management, international development, consulting, and organizational leadership. He has also consulted for the Commonwealth of Learning and the Credit Counseling Society in New Westminster. He also worked for the Northern Lights College in British Columbia. Just recently, he was the communication and marketing manager at the Grand Prairie Council for Lifelong Learning in Alberta, Canada. He also serves as an executive pastor at the Victory Church on the Rock, Grand Prairie. He previously served as a mentor for the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program for African students at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. And then he usually speaks to hundreds of students. That's what he does almost all the time. Every time he has a session that he speaks to hundreds of youth from Ghana, from other African countries, and also in Europe altogether. He is in the person of Mr. George Edusa Kodie, the founder and team lead at MeetMentors. If you could give a round of applause.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Desmond, for that great introduction. It is always a privilege and an honor to have, the chance to talk to a lot of young people, especially on the topic of mentoring. So, as I've said before, I want to thank everyone for registering. I want to thank the speakers for accepting to be part of this program today. And I believe that we would all leave this program fulfilled than before we came. So to help with my presentation, I would like to share a slide here. I'd like to share a slide here. Okay. Please, if you join, we would encourage you to mute your mic so that we don't get any feedback here. We have a lot of people who have connected, so we want to make sure that everyone gets what they are here for. Okay, so I know Desmond has briefly talked about MeetMentors, but for me, wherever I stand to talk about mentoring, definitely it comes out of me, but most importantly through MeetMentors. So give me just some few minutes to highlight some of the key things that we also do, we do as an organization. And so as you rightly said, MeetMentors is an education and training organization that supports the development of academic, career, leadership, and talent, development of African youth. These are the 4 key areas that we look at as an organization. He has already mentioned the year we were founded and when we officially got incorporated. Our vision as an organization is to make mentorship opportunities easily accessible to college students, recent graduates, and talented youth in Africa. And our mission is to, employ technology as we're doing right now through innovation, partnerships, and collaboration to provide mentoring that enhances academic, career, talent, and leadership development. Normally, when I read visions and missions this way, I want to kind of nail it down to the main thing. For me and most of us who serve on the team, one thing we realized was that as we got a chance to, study outside of Ghana or live outside of Ghana or work outside of Ghana, one thing we realized was an aspect of the gap in the educational system, in Ghana, but also across Africa. And one of the things we saw was that mentoring isn't so much incorporated into the educational system. There is a gap in mentoring. And so, for instance, people come to say level 100, they are being given courses, to study. Some choose it because they got family members, and others who taught them, who gave them the reasons and the benefits in picking a particular course. For most people, that opportunity is not there. And so they just come, pick courses, go through your education, 4 years in university. Some even leave not knowing exactly what they want to do in life. And we believe that one of the solutions to this problem is through mentoring. And so that is the anchor of, the formation of MeetMentors as an organization. The values that guide what we do are potential. We believe that every single person has potential. So when people come to us to be mentored, or when we run these kind of programs for young people, we believe that each person has potential, and that is why we want to invest in them. We believe that integrity is so important. Life is not all about, getting a good career and making lots of money and having what could be seen as good life. If your life is not life that is guided by integrity, we say it is a risk adventure. And so we emphasize on integrity in our mentoring programs. We believe that a person should be teachable to be able to receive mentoring. And we believe that ownership, in the sense that you take ownership of your life. Mentors come on board to support you, to help you, but you are in charge of your life. And so these are the 4 key values that guide what we do as an organization. The program that we run here, as to carry out our mission, we have one-on-one mentoring. And so we have some of our mentors who have been matched with people one-on-one. When people apply to us to be mentored, we look at their background, we take them through series of conversation and training and trying to identify their background, and then we match them with somebody whose background and vision aligns with that of the prospective mentee. So we provide one-on-one mentoring. And in the course of the program today, we will share the link to our website. You can subscribe there. If you want to get updates of the programs we do, you can send us a message. If you want to receive one-on-one mentor, we provide that as well as an organization. We do the Explore initiative, which is what we're doing right now. As Desmond mentioned before, we collaborate with academic departments in universities and other post-secondary institutions to provide mentoring that is focused on what is being done in that department. So for instance, today we're looking at food and nutrition as a field. We are not being vague. We want to focus on it. That is what the Explore initiative is about. And the reason we do this is to be able to help young people in these areas to explore the various opportunities that are available to them in that area. We also share mentoring stories as a way of creating awareness of the importance of mentoring. Most of the time when we talk to young people, they do not even know or don't even consider mentoring as a component to how they can have success in their life. And I'm going to be talking extensively about that in my presentation today. So we share stories of some of our mentors, and other people who are successful or are growing in their success, we highlight the role mentors have played in their lives. That is part of what we do. We also provide mentorship training and capacity building. So if an institution is thinking of running a mentoring program, but they do not have the needed knowledge and capacity, we provide that because we believe we can do the work alone. And so we support others also to be able to run that. And then the last thing we do is the Mentor Hackathon, which is our annual gathering of mentors and mentees. So these are the 4 key programming areas we have here at MeetMentors. And as I've said before, we are live on social media. You can connect with us on Facebook. This program is live on our Facebook page. We would encourage you to like our page to get all the updates of the programs we have, of the stories we share, of all the great things that we have here. So when you see the link in the chat box, please connect with us there. We also are very active on LinkedIn. And then on our website, we also have a lot of great information and resources that help young people. So we would encourage you to connect with us in these areas. So today, as I mentioned briefly before getting here, I am talking about the place of mentoring in achieving success. The place of mentoring in achieving success. Because of the numbers, I wouldn't be able to do this. But if I were to ask you, what do you think is the role of mentoring, is the place of mentoring in helping you become the successful person that you are dreaming to become? What would be some of the answers? You can put some of them in the chat box for me. I would love to hear what you have. And so that is what I want to talk about today. There is a video I came across a couple of weeks ago. The credits and sources at Chelsea University. I want to share that video, just maybe 1 minute or so, and then I'll continue with my presentation. So please just stick with me whilst I try to share that video. And let's see how it goes from there. Okay. So just a minute here. From there. I hope, okay. Facebook will give me that access. So just a minute here. I know sometimes it's tough to be able to share some of these things on Facebook, so. Okay, so it looks like because you're already on Facebook, I can't share that video. Oh, my apologies for not being able to share that. Because we are live on Facebook, I couldn't have access to that. But basically the video was, basically about a lady in, oh. My apologies for not being able to share that. Because we are live on Facebook, I couldn't have access to that. But basically the video was, I'm getting the feedback here. Do you guys also have that? The video was basically about a lady in, oh. Okay. Let me try and work this out. I'm getting a sharp feedback here. I think it's not going to help me. So let me get it off and then I can move on. Okay, so this lady is a Ghanaian born in the UK. She works with Goldman Sachs, and I'm sure most of you know that organization. And in the video, she shares how at a point in her career, And in the video, she shows how I'm getting this feedback here. I don't know why. Are you guys also getting any feedback there? Just so I know I'm not the only person. Let me pause. Please, are you getting any feedback?
No, George, it looks fine here.
Okay, then let me handle that. I'm getting some feedback, but I think I'll just keep going. So this lady works in the UK, and at a point in her career, she felt she was supposed to receive, promotion. However, the promotion did not come, and she was really mad. She was like very angry. And then she decided to relocate to Ghana. And so in her frustration to leave the UK and come to Ghana, someone advised her to talk to a mentor. And then the mentor that this lady had was former president of Ghana, President Kufuor, who became a mentor to this lady. And so President Kufuor advised her to stay. President Kufuor used the Akan proverb, for those of you who speak Akan, "Adwuma yesin eni akatua." In other words, a task which is not completed has got no reward. And so because this lady got this advice from a mentor, she stayed in the organization. A couple of years after that, she was promoted to a very big level in the organization, overseeing a big, task and project that is going on in Africa. And so she shared a story with Ashesi University and talk about how mentors can shape somebody's life. That was what I was trying to share. I will share it on our website after the event, on our Facebook page, so that you can have access to it. So today, my question is, why are you here? I know you are here because you need something, be it a piece of information, be it a connection or something. You need something to be able to help you move to the next level of your desire to be successful. I believe that is why you are here. Maybe a friend invited you. Maybe somebody called you to be here. Whatever the situation is, you are here because you need something to be able to help you move to the next level of your life and achieve the success that you have. And I thank God we have speakers here who would present on wonderful, content and also answer questions to help you there. But one thing I would want you to know today is that mentoring is a key aspect that everyone needs if you want to achieve the success that you are dreaming for in your life. Let me give you this homework. After you've left this program, go to at least 3 people who you consider as successful in your area, maybe. Go to them and ask them this question. What have mentors done in your life to bring you to this point? Just go do that homework, and then you would hear what they would tell you. All across the world, if we're talking about success in every area that in academia, in business, in politics, in ministry, whatever it is, mentors play a key part in helping people to grow, to be able to get there. And so you are here today because you need something in the area of food science and nutrition, but I want to present to you that even within that field, a mentor may be able to help you advance massively in your life. Let me share with you just 2 quick stories of how mentors have shaped my life. When I moved to Canada to study, after my program, when my program was just about ending, one of my professors who also became a mentor for me in the course of my studies, I began discussing with them because I was looking for a job after school. And for those of you who have got experience abroad, you realize that one of the key things that you need in every country to be able to find a work, especially in your area, is that they want to know what experience you bring, what experience you have. It's not just about your, academic qualification. What experience do you have? In Canada, they will call that the Canadian experience. What experience do you have in Canada, that makes you think you can do this job? So before I left school, I was, looking for opportunities to be able to get some opportunities to work to build that experience. Now, one of my professors who also became my mentor, as I said, got a consulting opportunity to train an organization on how they can engage their clients in training. And so my professor was the one who was invited. She talked to them about the terms of the consulting and all that. And God being so good to me, on the day that she had to go to that presentation, she got an invitation to present at an academic conference. I think that was in South Africa. And so for her, as somebody in the area of academia, she would choose the conference presentation over the consulting for this organization. You can guess what happened. She recommended me to that organization as someone who could come and provide to that organization exactly what she would come and do. I did not know anybody in that company. Nobody knew me there. But because my mentor talked to them about me, they gladly received me and gave me that opportunity to go and provide the training for them. It was a training not just for one province. The trainees were coming across, across Canada in other provinces. I would never have received that opportunity if not for my mentor. She just said, I am not available on this day, but I can provide you somebody who can equally deliver as I would. And that gave me the chance to go there. That is how mentors can help you advance. And through all those experiences that I built, I was able to find a job and move on with my life in this country. The other story is when I began MeetMentors, I was fortunate to get in connection with an international HR person who also is very advanced in the area of mentoring. She lives in the UK. She connected with me. She became a mentor for me, guided me through building organization, running a mentoring program, and all that. Since 2018 till now, this woman has been a strong mentor in my life. She has supported me. Just this year, 10 of our mentors in MeetMentors received a free mentoring training, which would have cost almost $300 per head. So 10 of us would have been at least pounds. She provided that to us as an organization because I have her as a mentor. The point I'm driving at is that we need mentors as we go on. Life is not meant to be done in solo. And so as you look at how you can advance in your life, where you are here right now for something, and I want to encourage you that consider mentoring in the pursuit of your life. Who is a mentor? Maybe a big question that maybe you're asking right now. I like how John Maxwell puts it. John Maxwell says one of the greatest values of mentors is the ability to see ahead what others cannot see and to help them navigate a course to their destination. And so you as a mentee or a prospective mentee, a mentor can see the ability in you. Sometimes you may not even know, and help you get there. They can be coaches. They can be guides. They can supervise you. They can guide you. They can connect you. That is what mentors can do in your life. And so you would definitely need their presence in your life. Of course, they will not do everything for you, but there are certain things you cannot get maybe easily without the role of a mentor in your life. And so I want to share 7 key, importance that I believe mentors bring into our life, the benefits that mentees can get from mentors. I've mentioned some of them. But first of all, mentors can help you avoid the common and the crucial mistakes most people make in a specific field. If you talk to successful people, you would see that in every area of career, leadership, whatever it is, there are unique and very common mistakes that people make. Mentors can help you avoid that. And that can save you time. And that can help you run faster. 2, mentors can help mentees to identify their talents, their strength, their purpose, and develop them. As John Maxwell said in the previous slide, they can help you identify some of the talent that you may not even have seen or have not even put emphasis on in your life. And they can help you to be able to develop that and to be able to grow. Many people are struggling because they have not even identified their talents. And remember, your talent is what will actually bring you before great people. It is a gift that is in you, and mentors can help you identify that. The other thing that mentors can also bring into your life is that they can help you make right career and academic choices. Every field of life is changing, speedily these days. Career is changing, choices are changing, and sometimes you may not even know the right area to go. And for instance, today, we have the speakers who are well-versed in the field of food science and technology. They are here to present to you information that can help you make right choices, what to study next, where to work next, how to navigate the path. They are here to help you with that. Mentors help mentees to be disciplined and focused. You need discipline and you need to be focused in your life to be able to see the success you're looking for. Mentors can help you. You connect with mentors, they give you an assignment to go and do, they ask you to bring it back on a specific day. That keeps you focused, that keeps you disciplined. Most young people waste their time because there is no focus, because they are not disciplined. Mentors can help you get there. Mentors can connect their mentees to their professional networks. I have given this, my example, as how this happens. And it's not just me. Many people can attest to this. They can help you skip a lot of the stages. They can just move you and connect you right to the high level connections. And that is one of the ways that you can advance in your life. Mentors provide information, knowledge that is needed for your growth, especially in character formation. As you grow, one thing you will see is that success is not just about leaving school, applying for a job, getting a job, making money. No, that is not so much about success. You realize that character formation is a key component in the success of everyone. Mentors can help you do that. And the last thing is that mentors provide encouragement and hope in difficult times. As you grow in life, moments come where things become very tough and very challenging. Mentors can help you with encouragement to be able to go through that. So these are the key things 7 key things that you will get. There are many, but I just don't want to encourage you with these things to increase your desire to have a mentor. Through the work I do here at MeetMentors, I get a chance to talk to a lot of young people across the continent and beyond. Normally, when you talk about mentoring, there is high desire, to be able to get there. But I have seen that most of them do not know the attitude to connect to mentoring or mentorship. They come to you, they are encouraged, they are, motivated to get a mentor and to work with mentor, but most of them do not have that attitude. And so let me use the next slide to talk about some of the key character or attitude that you need if you want to work with a mentor to see success in your life. 1, in as much as you can, know your identity. At the beginning of this year, I was training a couple of young people across Africa on purpose. And one thing I told them was that identity precedes purpose. Identity precedes purpose. You must know who you are to be able to know what you are for or what you're supposed to do. So who are you? Who are you? Try to identify that. And that would help you to know how to work with a mentor. Sometimes when you're able to even know your identity, You would know the right person to seek for as a mentor in your life. You don't just run around and just think, anyone can just be a mentor, because you know who you are. It's important. Identity. 2, initiative. Try as much as possible to initiate the pursuit of a mentor. You can't sit down, fold your arms, and get mentors running after you to come and pick you. Initiate the pursuit. Initiate the pursuit so that you are interested, you want to get it. Show that initiative. 3 is commitment. Be willing to commit to the mentorship. At MeetMentors, when young people come and they say, can you help me get a mentor? One of the things we tell them is, go and write for us at least a page description of your objectives. Why do you want to get a mentor? Write it and bring it to us. If you are able to put your objectives on paper, it is one step for us to know that you can commit to it. Yeah, most young people come, we tell them this, they go, they don't show up again. You can see from the onset that these people are not willing to commit. And so for those people, we don't even waste our time. If you tell them to read a book, they don't get it. I get a lot of emails and calls. George, can you help me, apply to this program in this university and do that? I tell them, go do ABC. They go, they don't come back. They are not willing to commit. It doesn't work in mentoring. 4 is questioning. Delight in questioning. Delight in questioning. If you have a mentor, what are the questions that you go to them with? I have always said this. Mentoring is mentee driven. Mentoring is mentee driven. You must show that you are committed by questioning, asking wise and important questions that will spur the growth that you are looking for. Show that delight. And then be careful of abuse. Don't abuse the relationship. I've seen lots of people who get mentors and they begin to use the names of their mentors around. For instance, a mentor gives you some wonderful materials and they tell you, keep this material just to yourself. They share it. Oh, this person is my mentor, and then they begin to share it. Don't abuse the relationship. Don't abuse the relationship. Value it. Cherish it. I have received lots of wonderful, documents in my relationship with some key mentors. I don't just go around sharing them because to prove that this person is my mentor. I respect the relationship and I do not abuse what they have, the privilege I have. And then the last thing is beware of the drive-through. I felt this will be so important because let me come down to, at the level. We are living in a time that most people think success can be achieved in 2 days, in 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way. There is a process to go through. You can't just get success through the drive-through. Just drive around and get your success. No, you must be willing to go through the process. And that is so important. And so if you have these, at least this 6 character, or attitude, and you get a mentor in your life, you'll be able to, see success coming your way. Of course, there are many, but I felt this would be very, very important for you. Let me say this. I have had a mentor. I mentioned about my mentor in the UK. When I started working with her, the time she gave me were all around 4 a.m., 5 a.m. my time here in Canada. It was whether I would get up in the morning and connect with her in the UK, or I would say, no, I can't do this. Every month, I got up sometimes at 4 a.m., at 4:30 to be able to connect with her. One day she told me, George, I have had lots of mentees in my life, but you have an exceptional character. I am not saying this to, to blow my trumpet. I'm saying this to let you know that if you want to have a mentor impact your life, be willing to go through the process. Sometimes it may discomfort you. Are you willing to go through that? It's very, very, very important. And so I came across this, findings a couple of, maybe a year ago, and I always want to share with young people. It was a 2015 United Nations report. It says 226 million youth aged 15 to 24 are in Africa at that time. But look at the next one. By the year 2030, young Africans, 35 years and below, will make 42% of the world's youth. 2030 is just around the corner. 35 years and below youth will be, 42 of them will be coming from across Africa. What does this mean? If young Africans are rightly mentored, rightly helped in the development of what they have, the potential they have, it means that the youth in Africa in some few years will be influential across the globe. We can't afford to let success be by chance. And that is why MeetMentors is here to provide mentoring to support this. Our goal is that out of this 42%, majority of them will receive the mentorship that is needed to be able to, see the success they're looking for. I like a quote by a Ghanaian, author. Lila says, every great achiever is inspired by a great mentor. Every great achiever is inspired by a great mentor. If you are going to be a great achiever, if you desire to be a great achiever, if you desire to have the success that you want to have, this is my question to you. Who is that mentor in your life that inspires you? Who is that mentor in your life that inspires you? Who is that mentor in your life who inspires you? And so thank you very much for joining us today. I believe that the speakers who come will provide you with lots of information, and you will definitely leave this program better than before you came. So thank you. Really appreciate this time of you joining us. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much for the icebreaker. Now we are in for a long swim. Myself, I'm a beneficiary from a MeetMentors mentoring program, and I can tell you that it has been very, very, very helpful. I remember one time I was organizing a program for my department, and then we needed a speaker for the program. It took me a mentor in my life for MeetMentors to be able to get me to that speaker, to be able to have her for the program. So I can tell you that it's very, very good for you to have a mentor in your life. Our next speaker, everyone in this world loves chocolate, but our speaker is someone who has dedicated his life to chocolate. He is a research and development manager at Bain Solutions in Sweden. He's actually researching into how to replace sugar with sweetened fibers. He wrote a certain article recently titled "Don't Mess with Perfection: Making Sugar-Free Chocolate." He had his bachelor's degree from the University of Ghana, did a master's in the University of Ghent, chocolate processing and engineering, and then he went on to do his PhD at the University of Ghent in Belgium, specializing in food technology. He himself has been someone who has benefited a lot from mentoring, and he is certainly the right position to come and discuss with us about the non-academic career opportunities in food science and nutrition. So let us welcome Dr. Roger Edu.
For the wonderful introduction. And I would want to thank George also very much for giving me this opportunity to kind of share little knowledge that we have with the youth. God bless you, George, for what you are doing for the youth in Africa and across the world, the entire world. Unfortunately, today I'm not talking about chocolate, but as the MC mentioned, I'll be speaking on non-academic career opportunities in food science and nutrition. Before I proceed, I would want to acknowledge the presence of my dear friend, brother, and a colleague also, Dr. Stephen Aban, who is with us tonight. He will be partaking in the Q&A session. He's well versed in the field of food science, so you can be assured that you would have your questions answered. I would also want to acknowledge the presence of Lena Akolache, the incoming doctor She is more of a nutritionist, and she's currently undertaking her PhD all the way in Ireland. And she had made time to join us here also today to engage us and to help in the discussions. So thank you so much, Dr. Aban and Lena, my very dear friend, for joining us today. And I believe we're going to have a great time today. Just to move on quickly, as I said, I'll be speaking on non-academic career opportunities in food science and nutrition. I'm going to share my screen briefly so that we can all proceed. All right, I believe you can see my screen, right? Thank you very much. You know, when we were growing up as kids, when you are very good in school, you know, your parents started calling you professor, doctor, lawyer, and all that. So even at that young age, a kind of career is, you know, coined for you. And as you grow up and you enter through secondary school education and all that, and you get to the university, you find a similar culture there. You know, at the university, the general perception is that teaching assistants, which where we call TAs, especially in Ghana, TAs, you know, are selected from the best students. So there's this culture there, you know, TAs come from the best students. And I quite remember when we were back in school, you would find people lobbying for such positions. And for me, it wasn't a big fuss, but, you know, for some of them, it was a motivation to study hard. They want to become a TA, probably not to even remain in academia, but you know, there was something about it. We like prestigious things and all that. I'm saying to share with you briefly my mentoring story. You know, as George said, we've all been mentored one way or the other. We did not just appear here, you know, we got help, we received help, and we will not hide that matter. You know, we will not hide it at all. And we want to share it with you to motivate you to also get that help there, will push you to the next level of your life. So back in school, as a young student, when you know we were about to finish school, the whole mentality is to go out there and work and make money. I believe most of us have that dream. Finish school, the knowledge you have, go out, work and make money and make it big. When we were just about finishing school, I met a man called Professor Emmanuel Afuakwa. Yes, Professor Emmanuel Afuakwa. I did not know him from Adam. Like I knew him before even, you know, sometimes there are ways that you know your parents know them and all that. No, I did not know him like that. And class also, I think they're talkative, you know. Some people request the answer, they you know, I wasn't that talkative type. So it was surprising how he noticed me. But he was also my supervisor, you know, for my project work. So I met this man and he helped me a lot. Most of the things I know today. What is it? Publications? Is it academic writing? Project proposals? You name it. Whatever a food science person needs, this man taught me. And all these things that he taught me cannot even be compared with something that I believe he instilled in me, which is can-do attitude. Can-do attitude. That look, no matter how difficult things may seem, no matter how, you know, it's like impossible things may seem, you can do it all. And I remember a story that he told me that even before he became a lecturer, he one day went for a conference, an international conference. And when he went there, he was looking at the posters. And, you know, when you go for conferences, there's poster presentation, there's research presentations and all that. He was looking at all those things and he realized, look, what we do back home in our universities, what we do back home in our departments is far better than what these guys are presenting. Before he didn't know it. And this opened his eyes. And when he came back, he told himself that, look, I am going to write publications. I'm going to write books. I'm going to do this. And today, those are the exact things you see. He has books on chocolate. You Google his name. He's a top chocolate expert. Companies are after him here and there and all that. Just because he realized that, look, we are not hiding what we are doing anymore. We are also going out. And I want to assure you that, look, most of the departments, our food science departments, nutrition departments that we have back home in Africa are producing top-notch students. You will not rest until you travel outside. When I got the opportunity to come outside to do my master's and met people from different countries, then I realized that, look, we have something valuable back home that we should be very, very proud of. And this man helped me all the way through. So you want life to become easy for you? Find a mentor, like our brother, our chairman George said. You need a mentor in your life. You need a coach in your life, someone who will direct you. Sometimes you need these people who will believe in you. You feel that, look, this person believes in me, and because of that, I can also do it. And that thing has stayed with me for the rest of my life. And if you know me very well, you realize that I'm someone who gives chance to everybody, because someday in the past, someone noticed me and also decided to help, also decided to guide me and to direct me and believe in me. So let's not take this mentorship program thing, it's like, oh, another program, another presentation that they are coming to do. It's very important. It's for your own good. You need it. Life will become very easy for you if you accept it and you hold on to it and find someone, find a coach. Those attitudes he mentioned, look, humble yourself and go through it. And at the end of the day, you would not regret it. So let's do our best. Sometimes I go to, by the mere mention of my mentor's name, doors are open for me. That's another benefit altogether. That's not even academics. Another benefit, by mere mention of your mentor's name, as George said, a door open for him. It's like, go and do this for me. And then it's opening for you. So, as I said, let's find a mentor. Take it seriously and your life will be blessed. I'm presenting on the non-academic career opportunities. Just briefly, I think we don't have much time. I would rather want it to be more interactive. If you're a food scientist, after school, there are many opportunities available for you. That's the beauty of the field that we are in. Everybody eats food. It's a broad area, different opportunities that you can enter into. After school, you can decide to stay in the academia. Most people do that. They want to be in academia. They want to be a professor, assistant somewhere, assistant professor, academia. That is it. That's what most people want. Then you can also go into research institutes. There are different reasons. We have the CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. We have the Food Research Institutes. These are research institutes. They are kind of sometimes linked with academia, but they are an institution on their own where they research into foods and all that. You can find yourself somewhere there as well. Then there is the industry, the food industry, where most of us also usually want to be, where most of us are now. It can be the public sector, it can be a private industry. It's still a food industry. Most people want to be there. Then there are also the food agencies, FDAs, Food and Drugs Administration, which are usually government organizations that, monitor the foods and all that, those coming in, testing here and there, making sure that standards are maintained in the country. It's in every country. No, that's how broad it is. Every country has a food agency that regulates the kind of food and all those things so that things are standardized here and there. And there is a fifth one that most of us, we do not look at, which is owning your own business. Owning your own business. You know, we have a lot of food scientists. Food science, a broad area. Most people want to go into food science and nutrition. Food science and nutrition. But how about starting something on your own? Recently, I met a young guy, 20 years old. He actually approached our company. He's into protein-enriched confectionaries. And his company is doing so well. Now they want to improve it, make it more healthier, sugar-reduced stuff. So they approached us. And I was talking to this guy. The guy, their turnover is getting close to the company that I worked in. 20-year-old guy. So I asked him, how did this whole thing started? Now you go to the shops, his products are there. He said, I had a passion for it. I had a passion for protein and rich foods. So I started something small in my kitchen, and then I brought friends in, and then, it grew and it grew. It started with passion. He was passionate about it. Then I was asking myself, this job that he brought me, of course, we charged him very big, and then we did it for him. And I was asking myself, if he was a food scientist, if he was a nutritionist, he could have saved all this money and still, build his own company. Do you get it? So it's an area that, it's for those who are very passionate about what they want to do. You're a food scientist, you're passionate about a specific area. Yeah, we would say, Africa, the system is hard and all that. But I believe if you have that passion, you will receive the needed help. If you have it, you will receive that help. But like I said, this is for those, it's not for everyone. Those who, if you think you have that passion there, go all out for it. Remember what I said, nothing is impossible. You can do it also. That can-do attitude. Start little and you would go out there and you will make it. Now, you don't want to be in academia. Probably in research institutions also. What are some of the non-academic career opportunities that food science and nutrition offers? Because of our large numbers, and I don't know who has joined and all that, I want us to go to the basics so that we would all understand it. Probably there are some here who are even not food scientists or nutritionists, I'm not sure. So let's just look at the food chain, our food chain, food supply chain. When we say food supply chain, before if something gets on your table to eat, what does it go through? What happens before that food, that cookie that you are eating, that biscuit, that drink that you are drinking? How did they get there? Let's look at the food chain. First, it comes with agricultural production. Is it maize? Is it cassava? Someone planted it, cultivated it, and then harvested it. That is where it starts from. That's where the food supply chain starts from. Then there is what we call post-harvest handling and storage. You have planted your food, you've harvested it. If you don't store it well, if you don't handle it well, you're going to lose all your product. You're going to lose all your produce. That is the next stage that the produce goes through. Then, they sell it to industries and all that. Sometimes, other companies. So it goes through food processing. I just want to use local products that we all know, gari or maize. You process it into something. Now we have neat fufus and all those things. Yes, they are processed. It comes from a raw material and they are processed. So it goes through food processing. You can call it food production, whatever you call. It's part of the chain. These are the major blocks there. Once this is done, there is what we call packaging. You have to package the food well. You can't bring me gari in your hands and say, hey, I'm selling this to you. There's something called packaging. And you want your products to stay long, have a longer shelf life on the shelves. so that you can make more money and all that. Packaging, you need the right packaging. It entails a lot. We would come into it. That is another stage there. Then, we distribute it. Some are going to export. I'm here now. I can go to the shop and buy neat fufu and eat. It's packaged nicely. It was distributed. It was exported to this place. And now I have access to it. My family and I can sit down at home and we enjoy it. That is it. The entire public has access to it. Household consumption, we all enjoy our meals. And this is what it goes through. That is the food supply chain, basically. But you and I would agree that between these things, between these major blocks, there are many opportunities for us as food scientists. Many opportunities for us in between these things. Before a food gets to our tables, there are many opportunities for us. You and I know that. And that is what we are going to look at, the non-academic career opportunities. The farmer produces his food. He harvests it. His job there is finished there. You, the food technologist, food scientist, the nutritionist, that is where you come in. Post-harvest handling and storage. How do we store these foods so that it do not spoil? It's a huge opportunity, huge market for this thing. Post-harvest handling. Back in school, we learned post-harvest technologies and all that. The problem is that, we don't see the whole picture. First semester, you take a course from here. Second semester, you do nutrition a little. You do microbiology. So you don't see the whole picture there. But you can see that there are many opportunities here. Post-harvest handling and storage. You can specialize in that area alone. Many food are going to waste. We talk about it all the time. Back home, the yam is spoiling. Then they come on TV and come and say, oh, we need good roads and all that. Post-harvest handling and storage. We are there as food scientists and nutritionists. Now, the food comes to food processing. Oh, that's the huge market there, huge opportunities there. Food processing. You need your research and development team here. Before the food finally comes out as what you want it to come out, we have to research into it. What do we do to it? Do we add water to it? Do we do this? Do we take out a little water? You are researching and developing. How do we get neat fufu so that it doesn't spoil quickly? Research and developing. There. You need your sensory scientists there. Sensory. Okay, if we keep it for 1 week, does it taste the same? We process it. Will the process affect the nutrients and all that? Nutritionist is there. So many things. You need your microbiologist there to ensure that, look, you have the right this level of this and that. So many opportunities there when it comes to food processing. Then we come to packaging. Packaging, another great area that you can specialize in. It's like, as for me, packaging. You have food, you want to package it. I know what to do. I know the right packaging. I know this, I know that. Modified atmosphere packaging. I know how you have to do that. It's another area that you can look into. Packaging. It's a huge area. Microbiology. Oh, it's needed here. The nutritionists come in, the food chemist comes in here. As you package it, then you have to test it. Are they the same nutrients? Are they in there? It's a huge market there, huge opportunity right there. Then it comes to the food distribution. Also comes also in the same line as the storage and all that. Now, as you produce this food, it serves as an ingredient for another product. You get it? As you put, let's say cassava, we've done all the processing, we've done it, become cassava flour. Now someone is coming to buy the cassava flour and go and use it in his product as well. That is what we do. There's a product, we buy it, we add other stuff to it, then we develop our own product also. So you can see that this can go on and on. The process continues. As you have bought another food, you need quality checks. You know, there's some stuff that runs through the entire chain. Quality checks. Your QA, QC manager comes in there. Another opportunity there. So that it goes in like that. All you have to do is identify where you want to be. It's quite broad, very broad. Food science. Oh, it's amazing how Dr. Aban is here. I'm sure he'll come in later. When all my friends, when I see them today, we went through the same university, we did the same courses. It's amazing how we all have different interests. You get it? Because someone is interested in this area, that area. That tells you how broad the field is. So you are in a very good field. So broad that, look, you can find something. If you really want to be in it, you can really find something that you want to do. And because of our time, I've put a list together of the various career opportunities in the food sciences and nutrition. I mentioned research and development right there. You need application scientists. There are food technologists. You know, you have the science, but how do you apply the science so that you can develop other stuff? You need the food technologists. These are career opportunities that you can venture into. You have your QA, QC. Quality needs to be ensured across the entire supply chain. Wherever it is, from the raw material to the end product, you have to ensure proper quality standards. That is another career opportunity there. Then sensory science. You are spent until I traveled and I did my master's. I didn't know that, look, sensory is such a huge, you know, it's like you have to go and beg someone to come and teach you how to organize proper sensory analysis and all that. You know, back home we say, oh, taste this, and how does it taste like? Is it good or not good? There's a whole protocol for that. It's a whole course on its own. Sensory. Companies are looking for sensory experts to guide them, because it has to follow a certain pattern. Then packaging, I mentioned packaging. Regulatory expert, another emerging area. You need to know what that, look, the ingredients, whatever you are doing, conforms to what the law says. Regulatory, can I use 80 grams of this in this kind of food? Can I even use this particular ingredient in this kind of food? You'll be amazed the things that we do wrong when it comes to food production. Before you even go into production, know these things. So most of the time you finish a product, it's like, we cannot sell this product because it does not conform to the regulatory rules and all that. It does not. Regulatory expert. It's a very interesting area. You have to learn food laws and all that. Then food ingredients. I mentioned that, look, your cassava flour that you have done, it will be used in another product. Okay, the same cassava, supplier A is doing it, supplier B is also doing the same cassava, supplier C is doing it. Previously, you buy from supplier A. He says that now this year I cannot give you any more product. You have to go to another supplier. How do you know that it's going to be the same? It's going to taste the same and all that. Someone has to specialize in food ingredients that he knows, compare the specs, that, look, this amount of that, it contains this amount of that. So because maybe you don't have enough time, a customer wants it. Food ingredients, you have to be versed into it. You want to reduce sugar, what can you use? You want to do that, what can you use? Then we have microbe, food chemistry, food operations, supplier assurance, innovations manager. Hey, innovations manager. Another thing right there, you know, come up with new ideas all the time, creating something new. Maybe you're someone who thinks, you know, someone who, you have that thing. You will not do it yourself, perhaps, but you have those ideas. Oh, if we add this to this, it's going to work. You are just going to supervise others to do that job for you. You are the innovations manager. You can think, my professor was good at those things. It's amazing. He can just mention things and it's like, wow, why didn't I think about this thing? And you do it and it's working. Then we can go into more specifics like fermentation specialists when it comes to in food that needs fermentations and all that. And for our nutrition brothers and sisters also, you can go into clinical nutrition, public health nutrition, dietitian, I believe we all know is very popular. You can go into sports nutrition. These days that Corona came, gyms are opened and all that. Everyone wants to stay fit. It's amazing, Back then, we didn't know about gyms, and now everyone wants to stay active. They want to stay healthy. Wellness coordinator, you need your nutritionist to tell you have to take in this amount of that, put you on a diet so that you can stay healthy. Then you can go into more specifics like the oncology nutritionist, deals with how you can manage tumors using, food and all that nutrition, veterinary, corporate wellness consultancy, and pediatric nutritionists. So this list is not exhaustive. You can see that there are so many opportunities out there for us. If you would find that spot and go into, dive into it, I tell you, you would become great and you will become, one of the best scientists that we've ever known on this earth. I'll just want to bring the presentation on then so that we can take questions. But before I go, I want to give you these take home points. Please take it home and think about it. The first thing is that start early. When I say start early, find that thing that you really want to do and start it early. I've realized that life is very short. Don't wait till you're 40 years old and it's like, now I want to do this. Now no. Start early. We've had our own. Now we've seen how it is. Start early. You've got the guidance that you need. Start early. The earlier you start, the better. You will make mistakes along the way, but it's better to make those mistakes than wait till you're 40 years. Then it's like, oh, now that is when you want to do that. When things have gone, you have left behind. Then secondly, get assistance. We've talked about mentors, mentoring. Get assistance. It's going to help you. Life will be smooth for you. It will be very easy for you. Find someone who knows the terrain, who knows the in and outs, who knows the twists and turns, and when it comes to food science and all that. Some of us are mentors, footballers, and it's fine. But if you want to do food science, find someone who knows the twists in and out to guide you and to lead you on the right path. And thirdly, do not despise small beginnings. Do not despise small beginnings. When I say small beginnings, we come out of the university with high expectations. It's like you're a graduate, you're a master's graduate. Recently, there was this PhD guy, he just finished his PhD. God willing, he got 2 offers. One company gave him 1-year contract. It's like you have to be on top there, you're going to, but it's just 1-year contract. The other company gave him 5 years contract. You are not the overall boss, but you are still, you have a PhD, or you still be managing 1 or 2 people there. 5 years contract. The money is not as big as the 1-year contract. Then he's confused. It's like you're entitled. You have finished university. You want a car, a house, those things. You've seen it and you also want it. I said, my friend, go for the 5 years. You get the opportunity to learn. Get the opportunity to learn and build up. It's always good to build from the bottom up. The only job that you start from up to bottom is grave digging. When you are digging grave, you start from the top. Then you dig, then you go down. No, food science is not grave digging. So start from the bottom. I remember when I started my job, I came in as a chocolate specialist, sugar-free chocolate specialist. So things were ongoing. Then one day, my boss called me and said, look, we want to do some sugar reduction in something called marzipan. Marzipan, it's made from almond paste, almond paste. We want to reduce sugar in almond paste. I said, okay, why not? Let's do it. And we tried, and it worked. Then now I move into other areas as well. I could have said that, please, haven't you read my publications? I am a chocolate expert. I don't want to go into other, let's stick to the chocolate. No, small beginnings. Even if it means I have to, learn what marzipan is. Apply the knowledge that I have to be able to replace the sugar. I will do it. I will not despise small beginnings. Don't think, oh, you want to start, people it so. Please start small. And finally, work hard and stay focused. I think Brother George mentioned that. Staying focused, work hard. Today you want to do this, tomorrow you want to sell phones, tomorrow you want to sell ice water.
I'm experiencing a break here. Am I the only one?
I don't think so. I think
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. George, it's good? Okay, I'm almost done. Let me share, then we bring it to an end. I realized that back in school, I like formulations. When you add this to this, what happens? When you take this from it, what happens? When you add more of this, I enjoy those things. That's exactly what I'm doing today. My brother, Dr. Abande, he was more into microbiology. Those tiny, tiny things. I always wondered, the guy was so good at it. It's like, please, if these microorganisms, they want us to see them, they would have been bigger. But that was what he was good at it. He was very good at it. And that is his specialty. It's amazing. That is where his specialty. So as you are there, think about it. What are you good at? And then you find that mentor who would see that those qualities in you and point you in the right direction. So I bring my presentation to an end. And I want to say that, look, let's work together, as a team to build something glorious, food science and nutrition for future generations that are coming, and to make this whole world a better place. And like I said, I acknowledge Dr. Stephen and Lena Kolachi for helping me put this together. I would leave the platform for MC so that if there are any questions, we would be glad to answer. Thank you very much.
Wow. Right now, I feel like becoming the food scientist myself. Okay, so before we begin with the question and answer session, there is a quick survey that I would like all of us to take. I've put the survey in the chat box. Kindly click on the link and then just answer the short survey. And then please, whilst you're doing so, do well to follow us on Facebook, MeetMentors, and also follow us on LinkedIn as well. And you can also subscribe to our website for more info and for more mentoring stories and for more programs that we'll be organizing in the future. Thank you very much. I'll give about 3 minutes for us to fill the forms.
Please try and mute your microphone. We're getting some sharp feedback here. Belinda Abbo, please. Thank you very much. Okay, so that was a wonderful presentation. I think this one is going to put the short survey, 1 or 2 questions in the chat box, and then, yes, so it is there right now. So let's take a moment to do that, and then you come back with a Q&A session. Okay. Okay, let's see.
All right, so I believe most of us have taken the survey and then we are back. So for the Q&A session, we'll be having George, Dr. Roger Edu, Dr. Stephen Aban, and then Lena Akolache to help us answer some of the questions. Please kindly put your questions in the chat box so that I read them and then we go on with that. So for the very first question that I have here, I think it's from, right. All right, so the very first question I have here is from John Logosu. He's asking, how is the clinical nutritionist different from a dietitian?
Thank you very much. Lena, you want to take this? She says she's muted. Can you unmute her?
Yeah, she's muted. She can do that from it, and let me see. Yes.
Lena, are you okay? Yeah, now you are unmuted. Yeah.
But we can hear her. Increase your volume, maybe.
Okay, let me take it before if she comes in. So what was the question again? How is a clinical nutritionist?
How is a clinical nutritionist different from a dietitian?
A dietitian. Okay. Okay, Lena, are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great.
We can hear you.
So a clinical nutritionist would more likely than not use a holistic approach to healing. So it's not just about preparing a menu for you. The clinical nutritionist does the whole thing, from menu planning to what's actually wrong with you. But a dietitian will use whatever knowledge they have to make a menu plan for you to follow. And most dietitians are based in tertiary care, but a clinical nutritionist starts from primary care, secondary care, and sometimes you can even find them in tertiary care. I hope that's helpful.
All right, thank you very much.
I can take another question. I saw somebody put something about if you were doing a combined major. how
Yeah,
you
I think I saw.
decide.
Yeah.
So let me give you a brief background. I did my undergrad at the University of Ghana, and I had a combined major in food science and nutrition. When I started out, I was very certain I was going to be a food scientist. But by the end, I ended up doing nutrition and working on a nutrition project for my national service. And then that just sent me to the nutrition side, like totally. So like Roger said earlier, you need to be open to experience. If you are still unsure, what can help you is to get an internship, either food science or in nutrition, just so that you get an experience in the field and then you can decide where you want to go.
All right. Thank you very much.
George,
The next
I think
question.
Dr. Aban says he's muted also.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Aha, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think now I'm back. There was something with the system, but I think I figured it out. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay, great.
All right. So the next question here is from Samuel Obriyebua. He is asking if he could be briefed more on public health nutrition.
Roger, should I take it?
Please take it. I'll give all the nutrition stuff to you today.
So public health nutrition, I did my master's in public health nutrition. The only difference is that you can talk to communities, you can apply the knowledge you learn from public health. So epidemiology, biostats, all of that, you can apply that in giving out nutrition information to larger populations. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
I don't know
think the
if
next
I can
question-
say something about the earlier question
Okay, sure,
about
you can.
what direction you should take when you do a combined major. I think for most of us who were at Legon, I don't know whether the system has changed now, but for most of us who have been through that system, you always do a combined major. Almost always. It's very few people that get to do a single major, at least as at the time we were there, whether it's with food science and nutrition or food science and biochemistry or nutrition and biochemistry or one of those kind of combinations. And I think it is actually good that you identify when you are taking the different courses, what it is that is of interest to you. And if together with that, you are able to get a project, your final thesis project, that is more aligned in that area. It actually makes it a lot easier for you to define that part, just like Lena said, because sometimes it can be confusing. But normally when you have worked with something for a while, as part of a project or as part of a job that you did, either national service or some of the internships that are arranged sometimes also during the vacation period and all of that. And especially if you get good mentorship about, what your confusion is and what direction you should go based on your interest, then it makes it a lot easier. Like Roger said, when we were on campus, he was very much into mixing stuff. I actually thought that he was going to go more and more into rheology and food chemistry, but he ended up, I think probably also because he likes chocolate, he ended up doing a lot of work on chocolate. And like he said, I spent most of my time in the microbiology lab, even when I came back to do national service as a TA. Even though I was assigned to Dr. Analate as in the nutrition section of things, I still spend most of my time in the microbiology lab, even though that was not my responsibility. So you can see that already at that point, I had that interest, even for when it was not my responsibility to do something there. So I think even though you are doing a combined major, through the courses you are doing and the different activities that you take part in, you can easily find that. And if you're having difficulty with that, then talk to a mentor or talk to some of the professors there and they can guide you, because as far as we know, they are very helpful as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much. The next question is from Hannah Obin, and she's asking, what choices can one make to become an oncology nutritionist?
you have to, after your first degree, you probably have to look for courses that specialize in that. So for advanced degrees, you need to specialize in oncology, like, yeah, nutrition, oncology, nutrition, yeah.
Absolutely. As I mentioned in my presentation, so those are more specific areas. So we have the general nutritionists there, but when you want to go into those tumors, how to manage tumors using nutrition, then you have to go, read special topics on such oncology areas.
Yeah, and just to add a little to that, I think sometimes some of the titles that we have used or Dr. Roger has used in the presentation, you may find that when you are actually in the field or when you actually start searching, they may end up having different names. And that is also something that you should have at the back of your mind. Sometimes you start your master's or something like that, let's say in nutrition, where you are focused and you are working with people in a clinical setting, and then you realize that a particular department has a particular need and you are attracted to it. And that in itself can kind of force you to learn on the job before you even go and do a specialized training in it. So that could be one way. And like I said, sometimes it has different names. So for example, if you are looking for something like oncology nutrition or nutrition that is targeted at helping people who are coming out of a disease or coming out of sickness or something like that, it can have different names. For example, you could, I think some places they call it naturopathy. And it may sound a bit, but it's like basically using food and other natural things to help people, recover from sickness and all of that. So just so that you are aware of it, even though it's given one particular name, it may, when you start looking for it, it may have a different name. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll be having another question and answer time right after all speakers have spoken. So because of time, I'll take 2 more questions and then we can bring in other speakers. So I think the next question here is, what are some master's programs that food science and nutrition students can offer in reference to the various careers mentioned above?
Okay, maybe I just try to do that. I think a lot of the course of the programs or the jobs that were mentioned or career paths that were mentioned, a lot of it it's like specializations that you do. If you are looking at it from that point of view. But another thing is that with your general food science and nutrition background, if you happen to find yourself in industry especially, you can create your own path depending on something that George said in his presentation, how teachable you are. If you are open-minded and you are teachable, you can learn a lot and you can do a lot. And you can even create some of those titles and positions yourself. I have had the opportunity to do that working in industry. I went into an organization where somebody needed to organize. I've been given titles like Global Halal Coordinator. I don't even know whether any of you know what halal is. Global Kosher Coordinator, and all kinds of titles that I've had in my career. So the point is, sometimes you go into an organization, and depending on how open-minded and teachable you are, you can define the path. Because there are several of these positions or titles that you don't necessarily need to do a specialization in. You go into an organization, and with your general food science background, a task is given you, and as you work with that task and all of that, you become more and more of a specialist in it, and then that becomes your role. I think there is a big feedback from somebody called Christopher Mega or someone like that. It's really, really, difficult to concentrate in that way. So if you can mute your mic when you are not speaking, that will help. So yeah, sometimes you just go into, but a lot of them, it's specialist programs or specializations that you take, especially from the master's level onwards, if that is what you want to do. Yeah.
All right, so the last question we take before the next speaker comes in. Someone wants to know if you'd have to enter into medical school before you can take, you can become the medicine, you can do the medicine related nutrition program like the oncology nutritionist and the pediatric nutritionist.
Come again, please.
Yeah, come again.
Oh, all right. So someone wants to know if you'd have to go to medical school before you can become the medicine related nutrition, like the oncology nutritionist and then the pediatric nutritionist and other stuff.
I don't think
No.
so.
No.
No, you do not need to go to medical school.
No. Actually, just to say that there are a lot of things that are associated with medicine that you don't need to go to medical school before you do them. And nutrition is a specialized area in itself. So it's not like you have to be a doctor first before you can, take care of the nutrition needs. So actually, it's the doctors who come to the nutritionists,
Yes, absolutely.
to so that the nutritionist can guide them that, okay, this is the patient have, this is the condition that the patient has. How can we get the patient back? Or how can we combine the food they eat so that it actually helps them to recover or something like that? So you don't need to go to medical school. And there are a lot of people who work or do things even in the medical school itself that are not medical doctors. So that's also something that you should know. I think a number of our colleagues, for example, went to do their masters and PhD in anatomy and all of that after doing food science. And then they went to teach in the medical school. Without being medical doctors. So they teach doctors without themselves being medical doctors. So that's also, a whole new field that you can get yourself into as well. Yeah.
And also these days, there's such a thing as functional nutrition, where it's basically using food to heal the body. And that's also a specialization. So if it's something someone is interested in, okay, look it up. Look up what you need. It's a very interesting area. So just adding to that.
So,
all right.
Yeah, just to wrap up everything. Like I said, my colleagues have said a lot there. The list we presented, read about it. It could have different names, like Dr. Aban said. Read about it. Know where you feel that, oh, this will be that area. Then you can, dig further into it. And we are always here to help, later. Because of time, probably we cannot take many, many questions, but we are always there to help. If you contact George, I'm sure he would link you to us, and we can always help you. Thank you very much, MC.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you all for the questions that you've asked. Our next speaker is in. She did a bachelor's degree in nutrition and food science from the University of Ghana. And then she went on to do her master's at the University of Strathclyde in Glasgow, Scotland. And then she did her PhD in the Charles Sturt University in Australia. Well, she's someone I would like to call an inophile per her numerous publications about Australian wine. You know that. As they say, wine gets better with age. So she has a long-standing experience in lecturing at the University of Ghana Nutrition and Food Science Department. And she has the requisite expertise and experience to come and talk to us this day. She is in the person of Dr. Mame Yakwa Ble Eje. Let's all welcome her.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me on here. My name is Mame Yakwa Eje. I'm a lecturer at the University of Ghana. George, thanks for the introduction, but a small point of correction, I didn't do nutrition, and I'm saying that because in my talk is going to come very strongly that I didn't do nutrition. Yeah, I did biochemistry and food science. So that's just for the record. But how did you find out I've been drinking wine in Australia?
A lot of research had gone.
Yes, man.
Yes, just one last, give me 1 minute and then I will be ready to start. Okay. So let me just share my slides. I had power cuts, so I've just had to put this together in like 5 minutes. So let's see what I can do. Okay. First of all, I should say thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you about a topic that I'm very passionate about. I mean, every human being enjoys talking about themselves and what they do. But for me, this is an opportunity to really talk about, it's reflective for me that how can I impact the younger ones who are trying to find their feet in a field that I feel very, very passionate about. So I was asked to talk about what I wish I knew before pursuing degrees in food science and technology. And my honest answer will come shortly. But just a little bit of background, so you know the kind of person who's talking to you. My personal view in life is that life is a journey, and we never stop learning as we go along. So you should never stop learning as students as well. You learn from children, you learn from every part of life. So just keep on the journey. It's not a race, it's not an event, it's just a journey, and you pick things up as you go along. So what is my answer? My honest answer is I wish I knew there was actually a degree called food science and technology. I was ignorant. So I can't say what I wish I knew before the degree because I didn't even know the degree existed. I don't know, I think the narrative has changed these days and you apply to come into food science or nutrition. But in my day, we all go into biological science and it is justify your inclusion to go to medical school. And if you are rejected, then it is a matter of what's the next best? That's biochemistry. Then after that, it is nutrition and food science, then chemistry. Whoever made that hierarchy, I don't know. But with a lot of hindsight and age and experience and teaching in the university and all that, I think we should really break that mold because it doesn't help our students. It brings about a culture of one is better than the other, but it really is not. Because when I didn't get into medical school, after I got over the disappointment, and it was disappointing, I told myself, I remember this clearly, that now I can pursue my dream. I can actually do what I'm passionate about. And what am I passionate about? I've always been passionate about food. I don't like eating it as much as I like to play around with it. I like to experiment. And on the last talk, I think it was Roger who was talking, he was saying something about wanting to combine things. And I was like, yep, a man after my own heart. That's exactly what I like to do. My mom hated me in her kitchen because I would experiment with every ingredient in the kitchen, trying to figure out if I mix this and this, what happens. And then the worst part of it is I always wanted people to taste my concoctions, which is what my dad called them. So I really wish I knew there was a degree like that, because then it would have been my passion to pursue such a degree. But as a child, I was told you are going to be a doctor. And so it is medicine. And that is what we all know. And I'm sure a lot of our students are in this similar situations. Everybody's wanting to do medicine. I mean, the health sciences are understood. We understand nutrition, we understand agriculture, we understand the life sciences, we understand the health science, but where does food science fit in? I mean, we don't know if it's an agricultural science, if it's a life science or what. Mm-hmm. So these are some of the things. So after medical school disappointment, I was now ready to pursue my dream. And so I walked into the Department of Nutrition and Food. I was very sure I didn't want biochemistry. It sounded too boring. I was very certain I didn't want nutrition. I thought it was boring as well. And I stumbled over food science by accident. And I read on the notice board that there's a course where you are taught how to transform raw materials of plants and animals into finished goods. And I was like, really? There are courses like that? And this is what I've been doing my whole life. And I didn't even know it was a degree. So here I went straight to Prof. Sechidosna and said, I want to do a single major. She says, no, we are not doing single major. So the compromise with my dad was, you do biochemistry. So I was fortunate enough to get a combined majors in biochemistry and food science. I was so sure I didn't want nutrition. So it was a lifelong learning. I mean, it wasn't an easy choice. not many people understood it. And it was an eye-opening experience to understand that it's not even cooking. It's a science. You have to know physics. You need to know chemistry. We went into a class. I remember our first class with Professor Fadede, and it was called, at that time, it was called Physical Principles of Operations, what we now call unit operations. And it was all mathematics. And I'm like, hey, what course is this one too? But it was quite interesting. And I was beginning to appreciate it. And I must confess that a lot of my colleagues, my mates at the time, were very frustrated. I mean, you have to get over it very quickly, that medical school thing. But I realized that this was a field which is really under explained, or it is hidden. To think that I lived in Volta Hall and where the department was, and I had no idea about that course for the full 2 years I was at Legon is a mystery to me, because with such a course, I think we should be making so much noise in the whole country. So I began to appreciate what food science is, that it's converting raw material into finished goods and the science that goes along it. And some common myths that are known about food science, and I had to battle my dad with this for a long time. I remember when I was doing my project work, I went straight to first I went to Prof. Ayena and I said, I want to work on plantains because I see plantains getting rotten. And he looked at me straight away and said, what is the biochemistry of ripening? And I ran away because I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. So I went to Prof. Sechidos and she was more caring, or more mothering, I should say. And I said, I want to do something to stop plantains from, like, the plantain glut. He said, we can use packaging. So then we started. And my dad was very upset that he's paying school fees for me and all I'm doing is frying plantain chips at University of Ghana. He was most upset. So how to explain to someone born in the 60s, no, he was born in the 40s, that it is not about frying, it's not about cooking. So he's like, so this food science thing, what is it? I'm like, no. Or your nutrition, missing no. I say that to my dietitian. No. I'm like, hey, how do I explain to this man that it is food science? And this is where mentors are very helpful. Because as a young 20-something or 18 teenager just getting into your 20s, it's really hard to see where the end is. And it's helpful to align with people who've been in the field for a long time, have experienced it, to help you see what is beyond what you're experiencing. For me, I was living my dream because I was learning science of food. I had opportunity to understand what is in the food and how to stop certain reactions from occurring, how to create reactions, how to halt some quality property. It was just fascinating. And I must confess, if my students are here, they'll know that when you talk about sensory, it is like my baby. The fact that when I put things together and I concoct, I can actually, in a methodological and systematic way, make it a science. And it is a science, it's sensory science. And it's just fascinating for me. Very recently, I get very passionate when I talk about sensory science, and my sister was teasing me that, hey, so if the whole village have paid money for you to become a doctor, and they come, madam, oh, doctor, Mrs. May I say that, oh, media may share for me, Adrian. What would they say? And these are some of the myths about our field. It is not very well understood. We are not nutritionists. As soon as you say I'm a food scientist, someone will say, oh, then you can write a diet for me. I'm like, oh, I'm not interested in that. Oh, you can tell me which foods not to eat. I'm like, I'm a sensory scientist. So far as you enjoy it, keep eating it. Just eat it in moderation. So I can be blasé like that just to try and help people appreciate that there are demarcations. We all don't do the same things. And even within the field of food science, there's so many areas people can branch out into. And you need to understand, for instance, if you take microbiology, for instance, you can do microbiology in the health field. You can do microbiology in food. And you'll be looking at the same microorganisms possibly, but in very different contexts. So you can't lump everybody as a microbiologist as a microbiologist. And one of my colleagues, Dr. Parhansen Kunedu, would let you know that there's a difference between a general microbiologist and a food microbiologist, because you work within the context of food. So it's very specific, and we get very touchy when you call us food scientists as nutritionists. Same as I'm sure if you call a nutritionist a food scientist. But if you did both, which is what we offer a lot of the time, then I'm sure you might not feel too bad about it. But these are some common myths, and I'm sure there are more. I've heard some of the strangest things when you said you're a food scientist. Oh, so you're a chef. I'm like, no, I'm not a chef. I really don't enjoy cooking. I find cooking quite boring, and it's a chore. But I do enjoy creating food. Oh, so what is that? I'm like, I'm a food scientist. I can be a product developer. And some of these conversations can be very difficult to maneuver if you're not careful. You might upset people as well. But just to let our students know that there's no shame in telling somebody that you don't know how to cook. And actually, I do have pleasure in telling people I don't know how to cook. I'm only a food scientist. Okay. Now, like I said, you need mentors who can help you to achieve your dream, because life is a journey. And for me, personal mentors I have come across through this journey of becoming a food scientist. One person I give a lot of accolade or recommendation or thanks to for playing a huge role, visible role in my life in this career is Prof. Sechi Dawson. I pretty much attached myself to her as a leech. She couldn't get rid of me after she agreed to be my supervisor. And I found in her a friend, a mentor, a mother figure. So she advises me. And one statement she made to me after I finished my first degree, I did my national service with her as well. And it was an honor because she pretty much said, you are coming to work with me on this project. And I enjoyed it. It was when I finished my first degree, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I wanted to do this. And she called me one day, or I called her, and she said, Mame Afa, stop being like a wave, being blown everywhere. Make up your mind what you want to do and get it done. And that was very sort of, it jolted me to really sit down and think through what I really wanted in life and to pursue it. Another conversation I remember having with her is that I really want to do food science and I want to become a lecturer. And she said, if you want to be a lecturer, you need to have a PhD. But this was at a time where University of Ghana, you could be a teaching assistant and you could do things and become a lecturer, like a lecturing assistant, and then they'll put you in it. But I think she saw beyond that and thought that if you want this career, the starting point is a PhD. So she pushed me to my limits. I put Prof. Sifadede there, and I'll describe him as a silent mentor because he probably didn't even realize that I had seen him. I saw him as a mentor. I was scared of him. He was very, I was mentored by him in a remote way, probably through instruction in class. So he would give me lectures or assignments. And one of the first, no, it's not ready, just a minute. Okay. One of the first assignments he gave us in level, I think it's 300. I don't even remember what year we started, if it's 200 or 300, but was for us to go and find out what AFST and AFST stand for. And true to word, I was a good student, I'll do my assignment, but it was a way of him helping us understand the field we had entered or what food science was. Because if you did that research, you'd know what IFT stands for. I'm not going to say it here so that our students here would probably go and look for it and join and become members. What IFST does. And as a good student, I did my assignment. And through that learning, I appreciated more the field of food science. And my colleagues took some of my notes and replicated it, but they got higher grades than I did, although a lot of them, I don't see them working in the field now. So it makes me wonder if they really appreciated what learning or what field the food science was all about. Maybe they were not as interested as I was. I have another professor from Strathclyde, Dr. Patterson, and he was also very, not a silent mentor, but a remote mentor. He told me straight away that I'm not making you do your research in the department because you will learn nothing. So I'm sending you to Leatherhead to do your research. And it was pretty much throwing me in the deep end. But he was there in the back, sort of supporting me. And that is why I've got this picture here to show that not all your mentors will be visible. Some of them will just be a word, or sometimes you just watch how they interact with other people in the field, or how they go about their work in the field. And you can take inspiration from them. You can be coached, you can be directed. You might be fortunate to find a few who you can relate well with, and you can tell them your problems, you can tell them your concerns, and they'll be able to support you. But not all mentors would be like that. And you just need to identify those you can click with. I was very fortunate to have Professor Dawson, and I have my good old daddy. And I'll probably put him as this torchlight here, because he was the one always challenging me and fighting me about wasting his money going to cook plantain chips and everything. I remember Professor Dawson gave me this IFT journal or newsletter that when your daddy says you are cooking, just show him this. It was a journal about what food science is and the different industries in food science. And I remember telling daddy that, you know what, if I become a food scientist, I can build a company that will rival Kellogg's company. You know, you like your cornflakes. This is what food scientists do. And he looked at me and was like, eh. I'm like, yes. But now that I've grown up, I realize that food scientists really don't build the companies. You need to be a business person to do that. However, you need food scientists within that food company to grow your industry or to grow your products. Okay. So what is it? What do you do next with your degree in food science? Okay. As young students, you're probably stressed and wondering, what can I do with my degree? Where will that lead me? And my response to that is, the options are limitless. I use myself as an example, and the people in my year group, there are 29 of us. Most did food science and nutrition. There were only 2 of us who did food science and biochemistry. My colleague who did biochemistry found himself teaching science after that. He's built a school. Okay, but his passion was to go back and be a doctor. So he left that after 10 years and went to become a medical doctor through the GEMP program. So he's now a medical doctor. I have another friend. We used to get the same grades all the time. Shh, guys, shush. We used to get similar grades all the time. When we finished, she went, Patrick, can you take him to the living room, please? She did her national service at Fan Milk and proceeded on to work there for 10 years. I used to tease her. I'm like, hey, you did go around chasing Fan Milk vendors. She's like, hey, mommy. After 10 years, she decided to leave the industry and pursue an academic degree. She's completed her master's now and is going to continue to do a PhD. So then, and I have many of them. There are some who went into banking. The point is, the food science degree is an applied degree. Shush, guys. Patrick. Take it. It's an applied degree, and so they can. You can use it in any science field. You can work in a chemist, like a paint company. You can work because you've done unit operation, you know about emulsions. You can work in a petrochemical industry if you want to. If you can work in agricultural companies, feed companies, you can work, it's limitless. The very first option is to work in a food industry or a food company where they are making food and you can apply your technical skills straight away. But even within the food company, you can work in so many aspects of it. You can work in the logistics chain. You can work in large supermarkets. When I worked at Leatherhead, we went to a company called Fortnum & Mason. It's a very high-end shop. And they have food scientists who work in their supply chain. And we had to go and train them on sensory because they have to buy things. So you can work in commodities, okay? Where people are buying cocoa or buying beans, because your food science knowledge should be able to help you make to make the technical decisions on which varieties to buy, which kinds of tests you should run. So it's an applied field. Now let's take ourselves out of the science. If you have an enterprising nature, by all means, build Kellogg's. I'll come and consult for you, okay? You can go out and be a consultant. You can, but if you want to be a consultant, my recommendation would be try and get a PhD, because you will earn more money with a PhD and a proven track record of research. People will respect you for that. That doctor title is very, very important if you want to go into that area. If you want to work in industry, you don't need a PhD to work in industry. And I have so many examples. At Leatherhead, my direct report only had a BSc in food science. And with that BSc, her team that she was supervising was me. I had just finished my Master of Research from Strathclyde. There was someone who had an MSc from Reading, and there was someone with a PhD from Strathclyde, and she was our boss with only a BSc. Now, within the 20-year span that she worked in Leatherhead, she rose very quickly to become vice president in the sensory field. And all she had is a BSc. I know she didn't do anything more. Now she's gone off to do her own business. I don't know how well that is going. I've done a bit of work with her, but I'm just letting you appreciate that degree that you have in food science or food science and technology, it is not a useless piece of paper. If you hold too much onto your grades and marks and fighting and chasing grades and forget about the learning, I can assure you that when you finish, you find no worth in that paper, because when you are employed in any company, they won't see your use, because your grades don't match the value you are bringing into the business. But if you appreciate the learning that you get out of the training, the degree program, because it is structured in a way that allows you to be versatile within the food business and to be able to apply your technical skills in other allied areas. But you also need to upgrade yourself. You need to learn some soft skills. You need to learn web design. I'm working with people in my lab who are, they went to learn web designing from UGCS. And because of that, I've given them a role as my content manager. I heard someone saying that you can give yourself any title you want. Yes, you can give, we create titles in our sensory lab every day. Projects coordinator, sensory coordinator, anything, panel leader, and all these things. It doesn't have to be set in stone. If you are a go-getter or a trailblazer and you are not afraid of challenging the status quo, by all means, set up a company and employ your friends, okay? Employ your friends to work in there, because you can believe or you can vouch for their technical competence. So your products will always beat the competition, okay? So in a brief note, this is what I have to say. I hope I've been able to impact someone or touch on some of the challenges you have as food science students ready to get into the world. And my only passion, guys, my only passion is that you will consistently work on improving your soft skills whilst you master the foundational technical skills of the food science degree that you're learning. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Dr. Kwame Yakwa Bele AJ. Thank you very much. I would move on to our next speaker. This speaker, the very first time I heard him talk, the very first sentence I heard him say was, "I love food. I like food a lot. That is why I have gone to study about food." He did food science and technology in the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and he straight went to do his PhD in chemical engineering at the Monash University. After his PhD, he became an Alfred Deakin postdoctoral research fellow at the Deakin University in Australia. And then he's very passionate about research that transforms biological processes and materials into high-value bioactive and nutritional products and ingredients that positively influence food quality and functionality. He's currently a lecturer in the University of Otago, New Zealand, and he is in the person of Dr. Dominic AJ. Let's all welcome him.
Okay. Yeah, thanks very much for the introduction. I hope you can all hear me. Now I need to quickly bring up my slides. Is my volume okay? Yeah, okay. So I'll share. Screen. Okay. Yeah, thanks again for the opportunity, George, to comment on pursuing advanced studies in food science. I really like, I joined in halfway, and I think I heard some of the responses from Dr. Stephen Aban, and I also sat through all the talk from Dr. Kwame Yakwable. I know exactly what she means about how food science can be very engrossing, to say the least, because maybe a little bit about how I also got into food science. I wanted to do medicine. You know how in Ghana, and if you happen to be a student who, as it were, seems to do well in class, maybe from primary, they immediately start calling you doctor. So I wanted to study medicine, but somehow I couldn't get into medical school. But within the same year, this was 2004, that was when KNUST began the food science degree. Initially, most of the topics, I think all the topics were taught by lecturers in biochemistry department. So it was almost like the two departments working together. But I enrolled 2004. I think there were about 26 of us in the class, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think when I started, I still had in mind that I'll finish first year of food science and then probably switch to nursing or pharmacy or something. But I completely forgot about that switching thing because I found myself really loving food science. And in second year food science, I even had a small lab in my hostel. Now, don't tell anyone, but I had a small stock of sodium hydroxide, which I bought from KGTR market because I wanted to try the principle of saponification. Some of you may know, I got some palm oil, heated it up for many hours, put in a bit of sodium hydroxide, and I made soap. And I realized most of the things I learned in class could be applied. Another time I tried to make texturized vegetable protein from soy. So I went to the pharmacy, got Epsom salt. Now, don't try this at home because Epsom salt can really give you, can make you run, okay? But this was just trying a bit of food chemistry. So I heated again, prepared soy milk, heated it for a very long time. I put in Epsom salt and this thing was not curdling. But I realized that the concentration was a bit dilute. So after a while, when the whole thing had become more concentrated, I put in Epsom salt and lo and behold, I got curdles. Now, the moment I got the curdles of the proteins happened around, I think maybe 1 a.m. I remember feeling like opening the door and shouting, "Eureka, I made it." But my friends would not be happy because it meant I would be waking them up from their sleep. So I just had to contain the joy. and the next day, I think I was able to press it up and chop it up and use it in food or something. But I really, really enjoyed it. And what Dr. Yacob mentioned is really true. It's the opportunities are really endless. Now I'm going to speak specifically on the pursuing a research path after your degree. Okay, so maybe let me start from there. This is my content and my background has already been given, so I won't spend too much time on it. Yeah, I think I'll just skip it. So I can really talk about this one, why advanced studies. Now it's really important because here are some, of course there's more, but here are the 5 I was able to put together. And the first one is that advanced studies actually opens up employment opportunities. And you can begin to see that all through the talks, this theme is coming up, that undergraduate degree is almost like a stepping stone. Now I did my BSc in food science, but my PhD was in chemical engineering. But of course, because the area of research was still related to food, I was doing something on producing enzymes and using them in milk. Because of that, it meant I could fit anywhere, really. So, and the higher you climb up the academic ladder, I should say, the opportunities for different employments also opens up. And if you are really keen on especially academic positions, now it's PhD is a requirement. You definitely need to get into advanced studies. So that's the first thing, you have greater employment opportunity. And the second one is, it also gives some financial security or higher pay and also low chance of unemployment, which is linked to the first one. Because sometimes even within the same role, if you have a higher degree, you get to earn more. Okay, because it is believed that you have more skills or more experience because of the further studies you have done. The third one is personal development, which is really important because the longer you stay in school and study, you get to improve in things like self-confidence, communication, work ethics, and also conscientiousness, which is being painstakingly diligent and doing your work very well. Now that's really, really important. Of course, if you go into research is not something you can do haphazardly. You need to be careful, you pay attention, you take notes, you record everything and all that. So it's actually a personal development endeavor. And the fourth one is, again, advanced studies help you realize your passion or calling. And in a sense, you have time to actually really discover what you are passionate about. Like as it was mentioned, once you do an undergraduate degree, the opportunities are endless. So sometimes it can even be confusing. It's like the problem of choice, which one do I choose? But if you decide to go into advanced studies, it's like you have more time to be able to fine tune specifically what you want to do and be able to pursue it. And it's also gives you an opportunity to create personal and professional networks, which is really important. Most of my friends, some on WhatsApp groups, in Ghana, even in Australia, where I did my PhD and postdoc, most of all these friendships I created just because of an interest in pursuing higher studies. And that's really important. Networking is key, as you will come to appreciate. That's why there's all these group, LinkedIn and so on. But you also studying for higher degrees really gives you the opportunity to form very close friendship and have networks really. And usually it will be across the globe. And that's also very, very important, especially in the 21st century. So those are some reasons that pursuing higher studies makes reasons which justify why we need to pursue higher studies. But of course, if you want to pursue higher studies, you definitely will need a scholarship. PhD, I don't know the cost now. During my time in Australia, that was 2010. I think it cost 30,000 Australian dollars per year. That was the tuition. That's not something you pay from your pocket, okay? So we have to think about scholarship opportunities, and I'll give you some tips, really practical tips, not necessarily what you have to study, but how to go about with searching for scholarships and so on. And the first one is take your studies, undergraduate studies, seriously, because number one, once you apply for a scholarship, remember you are competing with everyone else in the whole world who is also applying for the same thing. And unfortunately, I think even in Australia as well as in New Zealand, it's becoming, well, I happen to know that sometimes the scholarship committee takes into consideration the prestige or the ranking of where the student is coming from, where the applicant is coming from. So let's suppose somebody finished in a very high ranking university, US or wherever, and then you are also applying. Maybe your university may not have that ranking and so on. Now that means your grade could actually be a good thing to shine your credential. So that's really something you have to take seriously. I like this quote from Kwame Nkrumah, which says that those who judge us merely by the heights we have achieved will do well to remember the depths from which we started. And that's really true, because if somebody who, supposedly, especially in the past, studied under less than ideal conditions, or studied with not so much resources and so on, but was still able to really do well. Now, if that same person is put alongside another applicant who had all the resources they have, and let's say if they all do equally well, I say the person who studied with the less resources should be given the opportunity. But sometimes it doesn't come across that way to, selecting committees for PhD scholarships and all that. So make sure that as you are studying, really take your study seriously, get good grades, but not just the grades, as Dr. Mame Yakwa mentioned. It's actually the learning, the passion that goes along with the grade. You may have the grade on paper, but frankly, whenever we get, students send us email all the time. I'll show you one example. Email saying, "Oh, I read your research. You are doing fantastic work. I want to work with you." Those who are really passionate, you feel it, you actually sense it. It comes across even in the letter they write. And then those who may be good on paper, but then it's just something they are trying out, that too, you feel it. So it's not just about the grades, but it's also the passion as well. So that's the first thing. Take your study seriously, because it's almost like it will get you through the door in this competitive environment, looking for scholarship. Second thing is you really have to set aside some time. Looking for scholarship is hard work. It's a bit like applying for a job. Some people say that applying for a job is a full-time job on its own, and looking for scholarship it's similar. It can be considered in the same vein. When I finished my undergraduate, it was 2009, I got a job in Tema. As a quality control officer with a fresh fruit juice processing company. So I did that within 2009 into 2010. And the work was not demanding, but it meant I had to go to work from Monday to Saturday, like the usual working hours. And I realized finding time to actually go to the cafe. I didn't have a laptop then, of course. It's unlike now that all the telecom networks have internet data and so on. Those days you have to go to the cafe. So I go to the cafe, read my emails, look up some universities. Within a short while, I'll run out of time in their login system, and I have to go back. And I remember it really was a bit of a hassle. One time I still have the mental picture in my mind. I was working and realized, oh, I have my job now. Why don't I forget about all this scholarship thing? Because it takes so much time and so much. You go and read and they ask you to write all these personal statements and so on. But I felt that time was also an investment. Now, don't forget that the time you put in looking for all these opportunities is an investment on its own. So have it in mind. You almost like make a mental shift in your head that this thing requires time, and I'm really going to put the time into it. The more time you invest in, the more you get out of it. The third thing is use available resources. Don't reinvent the wheel. And one very good resource is Africademics. And I've put here their link to their scholarship page. Just Google it up, read on it. And there are so many opportunities. They have some of these tips I'm mentioning on their website to really help you navigate this whole area, and as well as other options or pathway to use to be able to get experience and so on. There's really a lot on their website, so have a look. Yeah. Fourth one is get all your documentation before you leave campus. In this case, I'm talking about your degree certificates and transcripts. I did my national service as a teaching assistant in KNUST, and I realized the trouble people go through trying to get their degree certificate and transcript. You know, somebody will travel, let's say from Sunyani or Accra back to Kumasi, and then those days you had to go to the provost to print the transcript. You pay, and then you can go to the administration, main administration, to get it certified as true copy. And you never know when you walk into someone's office and be told, oh, today they are not at work or they've gone for lunch, and you've traveled 4 hours to come to the place. It's not worth it. Before you finish school and leave the campus, make sure you have all your certificates and your transcript, especially the transcript. The certificate you get given during the graduation, but the transcripts, sometimes people forget about it. So get all that, get them certified as true copy, make scanned copies, and store them in an online drive, which means wherever you are in the world, you can have access to it. You know, USB is fine, but online drive, Google will keep it for you for forever, really. You know, Dropbox and all these other options which are available. So really make use of them. Another thing is you need to have some research ideas, even put them into a proposal form. It's not as difficult as it may sound. A proposal in this context is essentially a problem you have seen. And if you really open your eyes, you will see a lot, especially if during your studies, you were open-minded and you were able to see all the many opportunities that your degree can branch into. It becomes easy to identify research ideas. You may not necessarily work on your research idea at the master's or PhD level, and I'll come to the reason why in a moment, but that process of getting your mind to identify something, think about resources and how you potentially may be able to solve that problem, that exercise is really important. And it's almost like the beginning of your training in research, okay? Seeing a problem and identify what you need to be able to solve that problem. And in connection with this, you also have to read journal articles for ideas or for even methodologies of how things are done. Dr. Mami Yakwa mentioned that she does sensory science. I know about sensory science, but I'm not a sensory scientist. So if I see, I go to the supermarket and there's a product sitting on the shelf and everybody walks past it without picking it up, I may know that, oh, this may have something to do with sensory. Maybe the packaging color combination doesn't appeal to people or whatever. But if you ask me to design a research to solve that problem, I may not be able to pick the appropriate sensory methodology and so on. So there are ways of doing certain things based on the problem you are trying to solve. And you only get to know about this if you read papers which are related to that problem. Okay, so reading research ideas, you get some from journal articles, and especially the methodology or the strategy or the equipment or the methods used to test or identify or find out what those problems are really, really important. Okay, so that's number 5, research ideas and proposals. And number 3 is also related to what I just mentioned in number 6, and which is you need to publish. Publication is almost like the currency for scholarship. And this links with my first option. Sometimes your grades may not be very, very high, okay? Now, trust me, sometimes now over here in Australia and New Zealand, because it's close to China, we get lots of students, and you can't believe the kind of grades people come into the university with. Really, really high grades. But one of the many advantages we have as Ghanaians is the English language and our ability to write and give presentations, which we really do well, you know, back in Ghana. I remember those days when you were given a presentation and you read from a script. Sometimes you may even lose marks, perhaps. I hope they didn't deduct marks because people were reading from a script, but we were taught to give presentation by using cues. You just talk to the slide, look at the slide, and then you just deliver. You see, some of those things really gives us very good training, which means we are able to communicate, whether on paper or orally. So really make use of that skill to publish something. Now, I've put here publish articles, especially reviews, because review papers, you don't really need fancy equipment to publish a review paper. Review paper is just, not just, but it's essentially going into the field, looking at a range of topics, a range of publications on that field, reading about them, assimilating them into a concise form, and you publishing it. Most of the things that will be required in that case would be a computer, a laptop, internet connection, maybe a subscription to a particular journal, or ability to get a lot of research papers, and you are good to go. You can publish as many papers as you want based on how much time you have. And there are ways to do it. If you go on Google and just type how to write a review paper, you will get so many hits. Go on YouTube, somebody will do a very good video on how to go about writing a review paper. Just spend 1 week on learning how to do it, come up with a structure and so on. And within a few months' time, you will have a publication to your name. And publication is really important because it means you can communicate research, which is what researchers want. Whenever we get inquiries from students, we look at their transcripts. They may have good grades, they may have studied specific topics, which means they have the background to do research with us. But then we always go and see, do they have publications, which is really important to know whether they are, as it were, research material. So really make use of that. You need to publish something. Now, in connection with that, it does not necessarily mean all your publications have to be articles. It could even be a conference paper, or so you may hear like Ghana Science Association conferences. Submit something there. On the one, in a sense, getting articles accepted in conferences is not as difficult as getting articles accepted in a journal. Okay, so make use of conference papers. Sometimes there may be regional specific journals like Scientific African, which is hosted by Elsevier, which is specifically research done, and not that only Africans can publish there, but it just means they are focusing on what is being done in Africa. And that gives us a very good chance because, I mean, you are in Ghana, it gives you the opportunity to actually publish what is happening in Ghana over there, okay? In some cases, they even waive publication charges to people from certain countries, and all these things can work in our favor. I've put here topical special issues as well. So sometimes when you go into a journal, they may be having a special issue, and especially if it is related to something happening in Africa or Ghana, or a topic which you can come at it at a different angle from a Ghanaian perspective or from a tropical perspective, you can always make a case there. And it increases your chance of being able to publish it because there are so many Ghanaians in the world. You know, if somebody is doing a special issue on, let's say, indigenous foods in Ghana, of course, they will need to take submissions from Ghanaian researchers, and that gives you the chance to be able to submit something in that context. Another thing is contact your lecturers, because most lecturers now, or occasionally I follow some of the, I mean, I have friends in KNUST, Legon, and UNER, and so on, and most are keen on publishing papers, okay? So, and of course, every year they do have students who finish through their undergraduate project and so on, and most of them do a good job. Perhaps they are unable to publish it before graduating. So you are now studying, go to them and say, do you have any students' thesis which you feel can be summarized into a paper, into a journal? And they'll be happy to share with you. Often we have many sitting on the shelf. Work with them to publish it, and your name will be there. You may not be the first author, but that's fine. But so long as you work through that process, it gives you the research mindset and also gives you an output, which is a publication or two or more, which is really good on your CV and makes your chances of getting a scholarship even higher. Okay, now let me move on to the next 7th point is apply for scholarship and then look for prospective supervisors. So in this case, you have some publications to your name and you are now ready to apply. Somebody asked a question, when do you apply? But I'll come to that in a moment. So as I mentioned, they would want to see your grades, publications, and then your research proposal. You can see that I've used different fonts to represent almost like the proportion of how they look at the your application. The proposal is important, but sometimes you may be given a scholarship to work on a project, which may be a grant that the supervisor has already won or a research that is ongoing, which means your proposal is not what you are going to work on, but at least you know how to write a proposal, which is one of the things we look out for in choosing students. And I mentioned grades are important, and especially publication. So don't forget these three things. Some scholarship may require you to write what we call personal statements, like motivation and what drives you and all that. So again, Google, search how to write personal statement. Once you know how to write it, really sit down, look within and write your own. Have mentors and peers proofread for you. I had mentors helping me when I applied for scholarship, like I think about 4 different people, okay? Some in Canada, somewhere in the Scandinavia countries, somewhere in the US. And whenever I write something, I send it to them for feedback. And it comes back to me because they are already studying where I want to study. So they know how things work in that context. So they can give you some ideas on how to tweak your write-up to make it shine even more. Okay, now you need to prepare all your documents professionally. Now I use the word professionally here a bit loosely. What I mean is, simple things like format your documents very well. Format it well, you do proofreading, make sure there are no typographical errors. Sometimes as simple as maybe even having a very good professional email that is specifically for searching for scholarship, It's good to have an email like firstname.secondname@gmail.com rather than some, your nickname you use in high school @gmail.com, because it sounds more professional on a CV rather than, something else. So some of these simple things, you can do them and it can really enhance your chances. And I mentioned have a mentor to also assist with proofing and editing. And of course, as you are engaging in this talk, it means you know about MeetMentors. So some of these things you can always get in touch and we'll be able to help you. Another thing is you need to write a good introductory email. So this is the email you will send to a prospective supervisor. After looking around, maybe you may say, I want to study in Canada. So you can search universities in Canada that offer food science, or universities in Canada that offer nutrition. You get a list, you go to their website, look through the different researchers, look at their research area and realize, oh, this one does something similar to what I want to do. So I'll contact them and ask whether they have a scholarship. You need to write an introductory email, which is usually it's a good idea to mention your name, where you studied, maybe attach your CV, talk about the fact that you've seen their research and you are interested in it, and you also have some proposal ideas, research ideas that you can do, and you are asking about scholarship opportunities. So there are good ways to write introductory emails, and there are not so good ways. And I'll show you one example, which I got in 2017. I had to take out the name for it to be anonymous, but it's really interesting. If I had time, I'll read this thing because but when it gets to the end, you start laughing. So this is somebody who wants to do a PhD in New Zealand in our department with me. There's so many things wrong. I don't know where to start. So hello, my name is so-and-so, 24 years. It's like the person was lying in bed, picked the phone and then started typing, I have my 2 diploma, master, bachelor's degree, biological science, and so on and so forth. But the funny one is I heard and read it a lot about New Zealand studying, working and lifestyle, and I'm sure it's the right place for me to work and so on. He wants to do PhD in Otago University. And I look at the 3rd paragraph. I know it's not the right way to write to a higher authority, and my message does not upgrade to the level of messages that should be sent out to respected professors or international universities as New Zealand universities, and my message does not answer the question, why should we accept to? I wrote my message with this spontaneous way, just because I want you be curious about me and give me a chance. So this guy is interesting. He or she wants the prospective supervisor to be curious, so we want to ask more. And he says something about, he's really a good sports person. So he had to use a lot of time to training. So he couldn't have a lot of time to do much else. And therefore we should understand all that, which is just funny. I remember I sent it around to our department and we found it humorous. Of course, you will not get anywhere with this. I don't even think I replied him. Kind regards, human in the other side of the world. That's a good way to sign out a letter, okay? So that's a bad example, okay? That's why I put it up, just to show you. Now, point number 8, make sure you keep learning. This idea of keep learning is really coming up, and it came up in Dr. Mame Yako's talk as well. Okay, keep learning and keep updating your CV. Sometimes simple, I call them simple because once you get to know how to use some of these and you realize they are simple. Now, simple things like how to format a bibliography or reference list in a document. All through my undergraduate years, from first year to fourth year, I had to do referencing manually. Now, it takes a lot of time. I didn't know there are softwares which can do the job for you, like EndNote or even Mendeley. Mendeley is free. You could download Mendeley today, learn how to use it within 2 or 3 days. You know how to use the software. And of course, if you publish papers, you need to organize your references according to the journal's requirements. And what better way to do it than to have a software do it for you? So some of these things, even if you whilst applying or on a one holiday season, just take the time to learn some of these things, how to use a particular bibliographic software, how to do a bit of programming with R or even nowadays Python. I know about them. I can't say I don't know how to use Python. I know about it. I know what it can do. But at least knowing what it can do and learning a few tips here and there, download it. Again, these two are free. R and Python are all open source. Can really help you how manage data. If somebody sends me an introductory email and I see in their list of expertise, I know how to use R or Python, his chances of getting through is higher because R and Python is really useful if you want to manage data at all. Another thing is we know how to use Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Access, but there are sometimes a lot of ways to a lot of things about this software, which sometimes we may be using only the surface level, but again, really become a proficient user of all these programs. And most of these things, you can learn about them from YouTube educational videos or Google Talks or MOOC courses. So this is massive open online courses like Studera and a few others, Coursera and all that. You just pick a topic of choice and somebody would have done a video on it and listen to it and you learn. And you get to put it on your CV, especially if it's a course they designed to be completed that way. So you really have to keep learning. And I like this slogan from Monash University, Ancora Imparo, which basically translates, I'm still learning. So it's something you never stop doing, okay? The more you learn, the more you get a broad base of knowledge, okay? And someday something will happen and something you learned a while back is really what will help you move to the next step of your career. Okay, another thing is to keep, so in connection with that, I mentioned about writing and reviewing scientific papers, maybe not per se as becoming a reviewer, but learn about how reviews are done or how reviewers go about assessing journals for whether they are worthy to be published. And again, I've put this resource here, Researcher Academy by Elsevier. I think that's also free. There are videos, there are different things you can pace yourself and start learning, really. They talk about research presentation, writing for research, publication process, navigating peer review, and all that. And once you go through this whole exercise, you will know how to write a journal paper. Then you would start practice, write something, send it. Maybe the first time it will be rejected, but they will tell you why they are rejecting it, which means you get to improve it, submit it somewhere else, and your chances keep going up and up and up. And the more you do it, the better you become. And very soon you'll see that you are able to write and have your paper accepted. which again is good on your CV and can increase your chances of getting a PhD scholarship. And it will also mean once you are doing your PhD or master's, let's say outside Ghana, or even if it's in Ghana, you will be able to publish your work with ease because you know all these tools and resources. Okay, now let me talk briefly about academic career opportunities in food science. I think a lot has been said by the previous speakers, but one other angle I want to bring in, which is really broad-based, is this here. This too is a quote by John Monash, whom the University of Monash University is named after. So he has this quote, and I remember it's actually engraved somewhere on the campus. I still have the mental image. There's a place called Robert Blackwood Wall where they do the graduation. They have this quote engraved in metal on the floor. And he says, adopt as your fundamental creed that you will equip yourself for life, not solely for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the whole community. And it's a really good quote. It's not just about you getting a scholarship and becoming a doctor and being called doctor, but that has to lead to some benefit to the whole community, okay? And that is how I look at it when I think about opportunities in food science, even in nutrition as well. One place you can never go wrong, I think, is in this thing called the Sustainable Development Goals. Most of you, probably all of you, have seen it or heard it before. If you pick a research topic or even a career which fits somewhere into these 17 goals, you will always be in demand. Because now you think of it, these problems will always be around. And while we are making headway with solving some of them, you may know that there was the Millennium Development Goals, and then now we have the Sustainable Development Goals. So things about no poverty. Those of us in food science and nutrition, number 2 and 3 are really important because it's directly within our sphere, zero hunger and good health and well-being. If you go online, Google SDG number 2, there are sub-targets, and it will talk about sub-specific areas. In fact, when you write a proposal and you link your proposal to SDG, I mean, it shows a prospective supervisor that you actually know how to fit the little thing you are doing in the broad scheme of things and contribute something to community or the globe as a whole. And there are so many things you can do, like responsible consumption and reproduction, clean water and sanitation. So each one has a sub-target, and just make sure that your topic has something to do with these things, because when we are applying for grants to do research, we always say our research is really important. Give us the money because we are going to save the world and we are going to solve, target number 2 or number 3, or we are going to contribute to it. And therefore, we also want students who can link their thinking and their whole strategy to these goals, and it can really enhance your chances. And that's why I began with the quote. It's not just about you ticking the right boxes, like to get what you want, but it's really about you impacting the community or the society as well. I think, yes, so those are some tips, but probably the most important one is make sure you are learning, okay, not just going through your undergraduate studies. Really learn the content and enjoy it because they're really good. And get publications, keep improving your CV, keep learning different tools and research skills and all that. I got these questions. Someone was asking, when is the right time to start advanced studies and research scholarships? Probably based on what I have written, if you will approach a university or a prospective supervisor at all, you need to have your CV, you need to have your degree and transcript, everything ready. And therefore, I would say the time to start applying is, you can't do it first year or second year. Third year may be from the time you're about to finish, but probably only after you've done your research. So fourth year, after you finish your study, that's when you can really be serious, because it is only then you get your degrees anyway. But you can start maybe second semester or fourth year, you can start know about the timeline and the deadline of specific scholarships. Maybe you will know that, Commonwealth scholarship, the deadline is in August. This other scholarship deadline is in May, so you can plan your time around it. And all these deadlines go back to Africademics, and all this information, you can get some of them from there. So you can put this in a calendar and you know what to expect at what time. So I say the right time is, last year of your study, because then you have your credentials put together and you can actually make application. But in the lead up to that, just know which scholarship you are looking for, which options are available to you ahead of time so you can prepare for them. And then 2 is, what are the main areas to scout for scholarship? I think, like, as I mentioned, something which, of course, it should always be something you are passionate about, but also something which contributes to community. And I think picking something which is linked to the sustainable development goals is always a good idea. I know that's really broad, but then that's good. That's the beauty. Go in there, and then within that broadness, find your own little niche, and then use that as a way of getting in. And I mentioned also look around your community, see the problems that are there, and that's what becomes your proposal anyway. So that's also another thing you have to consider. Sometimes you may have to go to a university, see that the prospective supervisor is doing research in a particular area, and then use that to also create a topic around that. That's also another approach to use, but just make sure that whatever you are doing is something you are comfortable with, and you'll be happy to research for another 4 years or 5 years of PhD. So that will be me, and I think you may have questions, so I'll stop here.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Dominic AJ. He's talking all the way from New Zealand. I think it's yeah. Before we move on to the question and answer time, there's another survey that I'd like I'd like us to answer before we move on to the question and answer time. I have sent the survey link to the chat box, so we'll take about 2 minutes to do the survey. And please, let's do well to mute our microphone so that we can have a smooth conversation. And please, you can subscribe to our website to get more mentoring stories, to get updates on our programs that we're going to have in the future. You can also follow us on Facebook at MeetMentors, and then connect with us on LinkedIn at MeetMentors. All right, so we begin our question and answer time. I think we will continue from the questions that were submitted from the previous session. And then I think now we have the full house too. So are there any direct master's degree courses in quality assurance and food microbiology programs?
Well, I don't know if I can take that, but yes, there are actually. It depends on where you look and where you want to go. I remember when I was applying for my master's some years ago, there was a specific what do you call it, program. I think it was in Wageningen in the Netherlands, which was food science with what do we call it, a specialization in quality management. And I think even in some of the universities within Scandinavia, I don't remember the specific ones, I think I've seen a few where can actually just, have quality as your main area. So it depends on where, and also the specific area, because even quality in itself is quite broad, you can say. So there are master's programs that are specific to quality. Sometimes, like I said, some programs may have a slightly different name depending on what resources or that particular university may have. So, for example, it may be food quality where they are focusing a lot on. There is a program called, for example, quality in the food chain. So they give you the option to do different aspects of quality, but there will be also ones where the main focus will be on food processing safety or something like that. So there are programs like that, and if you are interested in looking at them, you will be able to find them. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. The next question here says, can you please explain more on the opportunities of
I don't think it's only me. I think Desmond, we lost you a bit there, so you may have to repeat.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, I think you are back.
All right. The question here says, can you please explain more on the opportunities of one majoring in microbiology?
Well, yes, I guess I would take that because I'm the microbiologist here. But you can say that there are many opportunities. And just like Dr. Mameyakwa said, when we say microbiology, it's very broad, right? There is food microbiology, which, for example, is what I did. The principles are the same, but there is also clinical microbiology, there's environmental microbiology, and so on. But the good thing is that once you start out in one area, if you see a corresponding area that you are interested in, sometimes it's possible to switch or shift in there. So yes, I would say that if you want to do microbiology, you can start out, depending on the specific area you want to go into, you can start out in biochemistry, or you can start out in food science, or you can start out in, what do we call it? Even general biology, you can say, depending on the university or the system that you are in. But for example, if you go into food science, then it means that at the bachelor level, we do microbiology, but at the master's level, if you want to focus on microbiology, then you may probably want to go into food safety or something along those lines, and there pick microbiology as you can say the topics in microbiology that you focus on, for example, doing your thesis on it and all of that, because that will allow you to actually dig in. And microbiology is huge. It's a very broad area. You can a lot of the skills that are even used in pharma these days, in terms of engineering microorganisms to produce all kinds of proteins and drugs and all of that, and even designing this COVID vaccines that we are talking about, all this mRNA and RNA and whatever, all of those things are actually microbiology in one sense or another. So it's a very broad field and depends on how far you want to dig into it. And there are many angles at which you can come in. You can just, but if you want to start from food science, which is where you are, that is a pathway into microbiology as well. So yeah, but I would say that you start with where you are, and then if that is your interest, you just go. Also when you are doing your master's, that you focus on that and probably do your research in there, and then you just continue from there.
All right. Thank you very much. I think this next question is for Dr. Mameyakwa. It says that, what can we do if we feel lost in the course and in the department? I don't feel this urge, but I want to build it. What can I do? Because I really need help.
Dr. Mameyakwa had to leave for something, so she's not on right now. But probably we can take general advice from some of you here.
Could you repeat the question a bit again so I get so that we could maybe chip in, because some of us have been in the department before. So
all right.
Yeah.
So the question says that, please, what can we do if you feel lost in the course and in the department? I don't feel this urge, but I want to build it. Please, what can I do, because I really need help?
Well, I would say that the starting point, a lot of it depends on you yourself. I think, and this question or this point has been addressed in so many ways. The idea that a lot of students, especially, I don't know what the situation is in at Tech because of the way you enter, but especially at Legon, a lot of students who end up doing food science, nutrition, biochemistry feel like they are medical school rejects, because we all try through the biological sciences to try and get to medical school. And then those who either go to the interview or not and end up not getting in, see some of these courses as a second best or something like that. So I think that is the first thing. If you are feeling like that, you may need to talk to somebody. And this is actually also a good session for you to connect to a mentor who probably has also been through like that, like Dr. Kwame and myself and Roger. We all went to medical school interview and all of that. So it would be good to connect to somebody like that who can actually let you see the world out there. Actually, I always tell my family that I am so happy I didn't go to medical school, because I think I would have been a very bored medical doctor. Probably would have gone through, but I wouldn't have enjoyed it. I totally enjoy what I do now. So that is one thing. The second thing I would say is that get close to some of the lecturers. And I can say, and I think Dr. Amiako also mentioned this, some of the lecturers, they are very, very open and motherly. And I think she mentioned Professor Sechi Dawson, and we can all say that. Roger can say that, I can say that. She is a real mother. If you actually take the trouble to go to her, or to, I don't know how often Professor Afakwa is there these days and all of that. If you approach them, they will help you. They will help you overcome some of these and help you to figure out exactly what it is that you really want to do and all of that. And the last thing I would say is, whatever you finish, whatever you do after you've gotten your degree, it's entirely also up to you. For now, one thing you should do is enjoy the process, enjoy the learning as much as you can, and try to make the best grades. The fact that you did food science or nutrition does not mean necessarily that you are going to have to work in that area. It's not automatic or obligatory, right? In my year group, I think out of 60 people who graduated, I think those of us who are working within the areas of nutrition and food science and all of that probably be like half the number. The rest are in different fields and they are really enjoying it, because as Dr. Amir said, you are getting a foundation, and the principles and things you learn from there, you can apply it in a lot of places. A lot of our friends are in banking. Some of them did their MBA and they are working, some of them even within the food sector, but they are not there as food scientists. They are there as senior managers and all of that. I think a couple of my colleagues decided to go to law school after we finished. Some of them actually decided afterwards to go back to medical school again abroad, after writing the MCAT and all of that. So the fact that you are doing this now does not necessarily mean that you have to do something related to food science or nutrition. If after you finish, you still think you've gotten this foundational degree, but there is something else you want to do, then go for it. But you can really be helped by talking to the right people who can mentor you accordingly.
All right, so the last question here that I can see here is, okay, it's the last but one. It says that there is this notion that once you apply for a job, someone with more work experience would be considered over you. If you would like to pursue higher education right after undergraduate, should this notion deter you, as it may be difficult to get a job after your master's because you may have little to no work experience?
I don't know whether I'm talking too much, but that is not necessarily true. Let me put it this way. I think in Ghana, our notion of what constitutes job experience is actually quite wrong. It's taking a bit, and I think Dominic and the others will be able to also chip in. Our notion of what constitutes job experience is wrong. A lot of times we do things where we even don't get paid for it, but the experiences that we get from those things are better than some of the job experiences people put on their CVs. It's all about how we package it, right? So, for example, I would say that a lot of the things that I have put on my CV that have allowed me to occupy positions like global halal coordinator or global kosher coordinator in a global worldwide company. It's not because I went to do a particular job, I went to do an internship. It's because of how I grew up, how I was raised. I know how to interact with people of different religious backgrounds. I can, even though I'm a Christian and first and all that, I don't say that because I'm a Christian, I can't work with a Muslim, I can't work with a Jew. I respect their religions and all of that. And I think we forget about some of those, you can say, soft skills or things that we have, or things that we have picked up growing up, or things that we have learned sometimes even unconsciously, or even jobs that we've done. Sometimes we even forget to put our internships and see, what do we call it, community jobs, our membership in certain associations and positions we've held in different societies and all of that. Those are all things that will surprise you how much value people may put on it. So I think we have to actually, and I hope maybe one of these days we'll be able to do a MeetMentors session or one of those kind of things where some of us can share some of our experience, because I think we miss out on a lot that could actually count as work experience and all of that in many different settings. But I would say that if you want to apply for a job and you have actually packaged your CV properly, in many organizations, at least in the part of the world where I work now, whenever you are talking about work experience, let's say I am coming in with a bachelor's degree and I have 5 years work experience. Somebody who is coming in with a master's degree, they will have a way of balancing things so that, for example, they will say bachelor's degree is this base level.
Yeah.
Any number of years that you've worked, we count it in a particular way. If you have done a master's degree, we will count it as 2 years or 3 years work experience, and so on and so on. So it all depends on how you package your CV. I don't think you should let this, the way HR people put advertisement out that you should have 10 years work experience, because the HR person who is even writing that, he probably doesn't even have 3 years work experience. So don't let those things deter you. If you learn how to package your experiences well on your CV, it will sell you, and that will be it. That will be my very long answer.
Thank you very much.
Just briefly. So, in a nutshell, if the opportunity comes for you to do the masters, do it. You get it? Do it. It's not about the work experience and all. If the opportunity comes, Dr. Desmond has given how to get the scholarships and all that. If the opportunity comes, go for it, because it's also considered as experience anyway. These days, all these studies are all considered as experience. Like you have something that other people do not have. Thank you very much.
All right, so I think the next question has been answered. It was like, is it advisable to pursue master's and PhD right after the undergrad? I think Dr. Roger said, if the master's opportunity comes, please do it. So this question has been answered. Okay, so this is Nanama Foucault. She's asking, please, is there a way to connect to mentors on your field? I'm currently into product development and would need a mentor to guide me. I think to be able to get a mentor, if you are interested, you could subscribe to the MeetMentors website. There's a process there that you'll have to go through, and then you get a mentor from our pool of mentors to guide you through that.
Yeah, exactly. So this man has said it. If you are interested in getting a mentor, we would encourage you to connect with us. Go on our website. Let us know why you need a mentor. We always want our mentors to know why we want to match them with a mentee. So if you can submit to us the description of your objectives of wanting a mentor, that would speed the process. And I'm going to put our email address here. You can either do that through our website, or you can also connect with us through our email. We will take you through the process, and we will do our best to connect you with a mentor. So that is how we go about it. But we want to encourage you to, subscribe to our website so that you can get all the updates. We keep updating the mentors we have. You can also go there and read a profile of all the mentors we have, so that you would know the kind of people we have. But pretty much connect with us, and we'll be glad to support you on that.
All right. The last question here is that, is it okay if you add your research topic to your CV? Is it okay if you add your research topic to your CV?
Can I answer that?
Sure, you can.
So it depends on what you're applying for. If it's going to help you get where you're going, then by all means, put it there. But if you're applying somewhere where it's not relevant, for example, if you're applying to a PhD program or to a research industry job, then putting your topic there in line with whichever job has been advertised may be advantageous to you, because it shows, okay, this person has done research in this particular area and this is what we are looking for. But if not, I don't see how it's going to be advantageous to you.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
I think one thing to maybe I should just mention it here. There is not one CV that fits everything. That's also something that we need to learn. You can't say this is my CV, and that is the same CV I parade everywhere. I can tell you that when I'm applying, if I see at a particular time I want to apply for a job and I'm applying for 10 jobs, I make 10 different CVs. Because for every CV, it has to be tailored towards what it is that I'm applying for, whether it's a job, it's a research position, or whatever. So that's also something that we need to learn. There is not one standard CV that is a one size fits all. So you can't say this is my CV and I use it everywhere. So if your CV is for a job, it's for a job. If it's for a research application, it's for that. If it's for a PhD, it's for that. And there have to be elements in it that show that this is what the CV is for. So I think that is also a follow-up to that.
Yeah.
I mean, putting your researches, and there are, for example, CVs that you make that you are targeting, let's say, a master's or a PhD, where you may just make a little bit of notes about research that you've done, but you actually make a second page where you just list all your publications and other academic things that you've done, separate from the main body of the CV. But of course, you refer the people to that. So there are different ways, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all CV. So that is also something we should, diffuse from our minds very quickly, because it hurts a lot of things.
And thank you. A little bit I'll add to that is, when we moved to North America, you realize that over here, they don't even use CV, they use resume. And resume is a different thing altogether. You can't send a 3-4 page, resume. Nobody is gonna look at it. So most resumes would go maximum 2 pages. You have to find a way to compress everything into that space. So definitely, as Dr. Aban said, you can have one resume or one CV for every job. Know what a job is looking for and try to package what you have in that. But I think it is important for us to know that sometimes we don't know how to put what we know even on our resumes and our CVs. It's a skill that definitely needs to be learned. And maybe we can look into offering another session on that. It's very, very important. Okay, Desmond, are we done with the
Alright.
questions? You probably will have
There is
to.
just one last question that came through my direct message, and she says she wants to know more about the pediatric nutrition.
Okay, let's take that and then we can bring the meeting to an end.
So I'm not even sure how to answer that question. For instance, my PhD is in child nutrition. But after my PhD, unless I specialize in research that's focused on kids, I cannot even call myself a pediatric nutritionist. I don't know if that makes sense to whoever is asking the question, and even if the person is still on the call. So I think that what may be beneficial to her is to look for specific, well, depending on where she is at this point, look for specific internships or volunteer opportunities in nutrition that work with children. And that may help her know if this is a field she wants to be in, and then pursue advanced studies in that area. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. As it's always said that every good thing must come to an end. So finally, we are at the end of this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful seminar. I'd like to call on Anama, the Vice President of the Nutrition and Food Science Student Society, to give us the closing remark and then the closing prayer, and then we are done.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to give the votes of thanks for this great program. First of all, I would like to thank God Almighty for granting us the opportunity to have such an educative program. A very big thank you to Mr. George Sarkodie and the whole MeetMentors team for organizing such an educative program for us all to benefit from. To our amazing speakers, Dr. Mame Akwableje, Dr. Roger Edu, Dr. Dominic Ejay, and Mr. George Sarkodie, we say a very big thank you for an eye-opening session like this. We also want to thank Madam Lina Akulache and Dr. Stephen Aban for making time to answer all our questions. We are grateful. Now to the executive body of the Nutrition and Food Science Students Society of the University of Ghana and the Association of Food Science and Technology Students from Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and all other organizers who made sure this meeting became successful. We say a very big thank you. God bless you all. And to our lovely audience who joined us and everyone who signed up for this program, we say this program wouldn't have been successful without you. We are very grateful for your time and joining us throughout to the end of this program. God bless you all. Thanks to everyone once again for joining us. We hope to have you in our other sessions. God richly bless you all. Have a good evening.
God bless you. Thank you for coming as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And so, as we go, please we would have the recorded version on our YouTube page. It will be shared on our Facebook page. So if you haven't liked that Facebook page, please do so that you can have access to it. And then if there are any questions, I've seen someone saying they want to get connected to the speakers. We can do that. Just connect with us through email website, and then we would be glad to have you get that connection. So I think that is all about today. Desmond, is there anything? One of our team members, Dr. Selam, joined from Australia. I'm not sure if he's still there. I was going to introduce him, but it looks like he's not there. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate this time. And hopefully something good will come again another time. Keep sharing the MeetMentors news. And okay, Dr. Selam is here. Can you just give us a wave? Dr. Solomon Abumega is the programs advisor at MeetMentors. We have one of our other, the operations advisor, Tina Sarkodie. I don't know whether she is around. If you can also just give us a wave. And then our communications advisor, Dr. Angela Animata, maybe she's also not here. Yeah, but it's a team that we work with. It's not just me and the few ones you saw here. It's a big team that work on this. And thank you, Dr. Aban, so much for coming. He's one of our mentors. And Madam Lena, I know since you are part of the MeetMentors team right now, so we will connect with you and just hook you on as one of our mentors. So thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. And let's keep doing the good work that we all know and have to do. Desmond.
Yeah, I'm here.
Close in prayer. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, done.
Okay. Are we taking the closing prayer? Hi, Desmond.
Okay, so let me do the closing prayer.
Okay.
Father, we began with God, so we have to end with God. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. Once again, we thank you for making this meeting a success. We thank you for the knowledge that has been imparted to us. We thank you for granting us the grace to be able to walk in that knowledge and be able to exercise the knowledge that has been imparted to us. We thank you for our lives. We thank you for the lives of the speakers. We pray that you shall bless them and grant them whatever that virtue that has been taken out of them by delivering these wonderful presentations to us. This and many other things we ask through Jesus, your son, Jesus Christ. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And Desmond did not introduce himself. Actually, Desmond is our programs and community coordinator. He connects us to all the departments and all kind of the groundwork in Ghana. So Desmond, thank you very much. And for great emceeing today, really appreciate that. And for all the executives we got from the departments, KNUST and Legon, we thank you so much for working with us. God bless you. I know it's late in where some of you are. Dr. Edu is and Dr. Aban is past 9, right? It's getting to 10 p.m. Okay, it's my daytime here, so let me leave you so that you can go to bed. God bless you so much. And Dr. Dominic, thank you for connecting from New Zealand. We really appreciate that.
Great job, Desmond. God bless you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.